Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to another episode of Plotting and Scheming. This time we're covering Season 56, 3 versus 3 Grand Arena. This is the preview episode, this is the long one. As usual, I am joined by my regular co-hosts, Dagger, TJ, and Sasha Isha, but I have a surprise for you all. We have a special guest once more. Very delighted to have this one. He was my inspiration to start streaming. It all started back when I tuned in one night, and I saw him sitting what looked to be basically my grandmother's kitchen under a yellow lamp, looking sweaty, looking greasy, looking focused, and dropping just straight dope about what he was doing. Just excellent information. Just one gem after the other. And this is my people. I need to see this. And then the more I watched, I was like, I can do this. And that's how I got started streaming Swugga. It is my very great pleasure to welcome Xaereth to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Tess.
It's a delight. It's a delight. Dagger, TJ, Sasha, Isha, how is it going, gentlemen?
All good on my front. Psyched to have Xaereth here.
Where the fuck's my hats off
happy
at?
to be here. Yeah,
Bullshit.
Happy
Where's
to
our
be here.
hats
Better
off?
than an hour ago, that's for sure.
I'm sweaty and greasy. I like Xaereth too. Fuck's my hat off. It's
No.
bullshit.
You're sweaty
We'll
and
start over.
greasy. You're sweaty and greasy because you're toned and you cover yourself in olive oil before you pose in a toga for having somebody like.
What am I
sculpt
doing?
you.
I'm uncultured. We have vegetable oil where I come from, so we don't do olive oil.
Okay,
Get your shit straight.
well, I mean, you could try and just
Olive
get
and
cultured.
vegetable.
All right, guys, we have a lot to go for this evening, but I'd like to dig in to our guest focus, our interview first. So, welcome, Xaereth. First question, very appropriate for you. Who or what inspired you to start making content for Swugga?
I'll say first, it wasn't greasy men. That's not what inspired me.
It can be different things for different people.
That's all good, man. Nothing's changed about me, so it's all good. Wait, so what? Honestly, when I started it, I don't really know exactly. Like I've always liked making content on some level, like showing what I do. I didn't really realize that's what I was doing initially. I used to play Warhammer 40K a long time ago. Loved that game. It's a tabletop miniatures game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was really
Painting
I
is
was
tedious. The game is great.
And what? So this isn't the first thing you've made content for. I could go find something pre-Swugga on you, yeah?
sure,
Quick question,
yeah.
Quick side question. What was your faction of choice? I was a Space Marine guy.
I think at the end of the day, I have to say Dark Eldar were probably my favorite.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice glass cannon, just
Yeah.
high finesse, high risk reward type army. Lots of really interesting choices to make. Very unforgiving.
But you were saying, back then you were just making stuff before you got into Swugga, and then how did you decide that you wanted to start making content for Swugga?
Well, so I was doing that blog for like the tabletop miniature stuff, really competitive guy, and then I got into this kind of as just I have to stop doing this because I have kids and it's ruining everyone's life by me being gone for hours at a time playing greasy, sweaty man games.
Whole room
to carry
banging
on
of
with.
onions.
Yeah. So I started doing this, and I didn't really realize what I was doing. Like I was just like taking videos here and there, and like sharing them with my guild. I'm like, no, you don't do it like this. You do it like this, and eventually I started. I was like, I should just start actually recording some like. Once GAC started, I was like, I should just start doing a voiceover and explaining what I'm doing in GAC because it seems like a lot of people aren't doing the things the right way, and honestly, it was pretty scary. I think I literally spent 2 hours just staring at. I recorded it on my phone. The first video I ever did, and I just stared at that phone. I didn't say a single word. I just had to get over that like fear of it. And once I eventually did, it was all right. But yeah, I mostly started making it for myself, and then realized, well, I could share it with people and try to help a little bit here and there. You know,
Nice.
just started from nothing though. I didn't realize I was like going to make content or something. There was never like a decision point like, hey, I'm gonna be a content creator now. It
Well,
just
how did you start picking up traffic outside of your guild?
well, I mean, that's the thing about me. Like once I jump into something, I really jump into it. Um, you know, that's the case. Like I've always had some kind of, I don't know if you call it an obsession or whatever, something to fixate on, something to really, you know. And my wife's always been so kind about it. She realizes I need something though to occupy my mind. Like I'm just constantly want something to chew on, something to be thinking about, something to be working on mentally. And so, um, that when I've made my first one and I did like a voiceover and I started sharing it with people, I was like, all right, let's just start sharing it everywhere. So I joined a bunch of different Discord servers, asked a bunch of people if I could just start posting my videos on their stuff on their Discord server, and a lot of people were like, no, no, thank you. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
eventually, I started gaining a little traction here and there, at least with the GAC community.
Nice. All right, which one of you guys wants to ask him the next question?
Yeah,
Rock, paper,
how has
scissors.
content creation changed for you since Jack added the crystals and threw us all into the same pot? How did you adjust? How was your mentality? How has your content all kind of changed?
When did GAC add crystals? It's been a long time, hasn't it? I don't
Two
even know,
years?
man.
2.5 years? I want to say 2.5 years, but I could be wrong.
I can't remember.
Star Killer was the release of the new GAC. I think that was 2.5 years ago because we had Afra and Bo. So two.
Yeah, they took it away from
That sound
Arena, I
correct,
guess,
everybody?
and gave it to. Took it away from Arena and gave it to. I just don't have a good map of it mentally.
But did that change your game though? Like did that actually fundamentally change? Like now that you had more skin in it, crystal wise, because you know, like I know you spend some money on the game, but you're not by any means like a kraken or anything. So you're choosy about how you go about it. So
Sure.
like, how did that affect your play? Like to Dagger's point.
I mean, I guess for me, I mean, I remember it pretty well now. Like I was pretty deep into content creation at that point still already, and I just remember thinking, like I've played GAC for free. You know, like for me, I just love the competition of
Yes.
it. That's the thing that I love.
So it
Is,
didn't change
you know,
anything, did it?
oh, I the crystals did nothing. I was just like, oh, okay, I don't have to do arena anymore. That's awesome.
Well, to give an example, just to speak for myself, I remember just smashing my way to like 11 and ones and 12 and O's because the people who had my same top 80 just weren't as good, right? Their rosters weren't as lean, right? I had like a big mod advantage and a relic advantage. So I just parked everything at relic 3, right? And then I got thrown into this pot where everybody had R7s. And I had to like immediately start relicking up these R3s because they just did not compete. And I remember that pretty vividly because I had to change the way that I played GAC because I now had to play everyone instead of just the people with my top 80.
Mm.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked the idea that I was always fairly bitter that like I can never play Arnold, for instance. And I still haven't, but the possibility has existed for years now at this
Wow.
point. So what I would love to see at now is just some kind of like a challenge mode with GAC, but that's probably wandering off on a tangent. I just
Nah,
No,
you're good.
I liked when they put everyone together though. It was really fun, especially seeing my alt. I guess I just had one
Yeah.
alt at the time, and I was like, man, I was just min maxed for everything. I was always getting like top 10 in whatever league. Like I almost got top 10 in Kyber. I remember the first time I was there, I got like number 16, which is absurd, of
Yeah.
course, for that account to get it. But you could just game the system so well, and I was like, I'm just gonna get murdered when they switch me over. And then I actually just ended up destroying people for a long time, anyways, until you reach a certain point. But it was really interesting to see like just because you have a lot of relics doesn't mean you really know. Doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
Remains
Those
true to
were
this
like
day.
just
Sorry.
those were fantastic Grand Arena times, though. When everything got mixed up, people just you got this sort of open field, not just sort of relegated out to the same people that have the exact same GDP as you for their top 80 accounts. Although this is a slightly different question, but one I'm kind of curious. It's related enough. I'm curious to ask though, Xaereth, for you as a content creator and as a competitive GAC player, and like you're saying, it's the winning and competing in GAC that like kind of gets gets your energy going, gets your mind moving. How does the fact that you're a content creator and thinking about being a content creator, how does that impact your approach to competitive GAC? Like in terms of like either you tend to lean towards a particular strategy or I don't know. I know like one thing you tend to do is you're pretty creative and experimental with counters. Often you'll be the first one that I see try something. How much does that content creation and that rule factor into your competitive approach?
I'm sure that there is a certain degree of just, yeah. I'm looking for something new and fun to try on stream. It's fun to watch something new. It's so boring. I bore myself trying to do. It's just like, yeah, let's use Seer Malicos against Ray again. Like it's so effective. It's hard to say no to some of those counters, but. Yeah, like some of my favorite was back in the day when you could use Darth Vader to kill Rey, but like all the different Rey builds made you like take different characters to support Vader. Like that was probably the pinnacle for me. I was like, this is so crazy, like the amount of problem solving you have to do. Oh, it does push me a little bit to be a little bit more bold and creative. Like I like to do that stuff for sure. I think there's also just this element of. I mean, I care about my results. I certainly do, but there's a certain element of if people want to watch me and if they want to watch me play, they just can. Like that's just I've given a free license to do that. And my competitive side gets real frustrated when people do that. And there's when that happens, and I've had to really try to suppress that part of me because I'm like, you know we just have to have a good time. We have to have a good stream. Like first and foremost, I have to choose what's my loyalty first too. Like because I'm gonna be a content creator first. If I'm gonna get on Discord, that's me saying, not on Discord, sorry, on Twitch. That's me saying, all right, someone might watch me, and I have to be okay with that because I want people to watch me. That's just how it is. So you know, being a content creator in some ways I've had to they kind of almost hand the keys over and say like I'm not a competitive player anymore. I mean I'm certainly competitive. I just I almost have to just be more competitive on the content creation side for myself rather than really letting that letting that content letting it bother me that I'm doing it in front of everyone, I guess.
Very fair. Very fair. Great question,
Yeah.
by the way, Sasha. Good one.
Oh, it is. It is a good question.
Yeah. All right. Let me hit you with this one. Now, how grueling is it to put out a video a day? Dagger thought this was an important one for me to ask you, so I'm curious.
No, I can't put out a video a day anymore. I used to. I was doing that, and um, I think for me, I'm to be honest, I love content creation. I would love to do it professionally. I doubt that's ever gonna happen for me. Like being able to do it full time. But for a long time, I was chasing my dream as hard as I could, and it's just at least at this game, I don't think the growth is there. I don't think the field is there. So maybe one day we'll switch things up, maybe I'll make a 40K channel, but but yeah, making a DAC or making a video a day is just it's grueling, man. It's tough. There's enough there can be enough content for it if you're dedicated enough. I mean, Arnold did it for a long time. I don't know if he's still making daily content, but
Yeah, I don't think
you
it's
could do
quite
it.
daily,
You
but
could
it
do
is
it,
still
but
like a few a week.
as you start to increase quality of your videos, and I'm not saying mine are the highest quality or anything, but the more production you put into it, the more you realize, like, oh my gosh, like I added like one small little animation that no one's gonna notice. That took me an hour. Like, this is ridiculous. So
This is why your
yeah,
boy sticks with an actual like Microsoft PowerPoint slide that I continuously update.
But hey, all the dad
I
jokes
mean,
are free though, right, Xaereth? Those are free.
right. Well, yeah. I mean, mount the algorithm, please. But sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I actually was thinking earlier in the day when I was introducing you that I wanted to include that you were the mounter of the algorithm, and I forgot that. Damn.
Dude, I still get a chuckle every time I hear like, "Wow, we're in the game," because I hear EA Sports
Oh
"We're in the
yeah.
game" just pop in my head.
Oh
Like, this
yeah.
is fantastic.
Whoa, we're the game. How do man? That is the Xaereth
Madness.
Yeah.
original.
Yeah.
People get
Uh,
Fantastic. TJ, why don't you ask him the next one?
I actually feel like this is really good, and I got brought up on your stream the other night, so I thought it'd be good to see it here as well. So I think we all remember when when GAC first started, when we did the new change. It was new and exciting, and
yeah.
everybody was in, and we were all trying to be for the top spot, and everybody was fighting. And now we come to today, and you got asked this specifically. I thought it was a great question. How has your attitude changed for GAC, or has it, from when we first started to where we're at now? A lot of people are just kind of going through the motions. How does that feel for you today? Are you still just as excited as you used to be, or how has it evolved?
So just so we're all clear, I can't hear TJ at all if he's talking right now.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Because I heard him just fine.
Sorry. Well, it's a great question for you, Xaereth. So we'll let you just guess what the
No,
question
but I heard him
was.
just fine.
And
That's,
I know, yeah, no problem. So, sorry. So, TJ, yeah, I don't know. Can you hear Xaereth, TJ?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I'm hoping he can
Okay.
hear me. It kind of sucks he can't hear me because it was a really good setup.
Yeah,
It was. It was well positioned. Well,
You still can't hear him, though,
Xaereth, we
Xaereth?
can.
I still can't hear him.
What? Do you? All right. So you have a blood feud that you forgot about with TJ, and you just have him like giga blocked. Is that what
Sure,
that
man.
is?
Wait, you can do that to TJ?
have no
This
idea.
is great.
yeah,
No,
whoa.
TJ.
That's right. You can mute him so you can't hear him. You can turn his volume all the way down. That's
Hang on,
right.
I need a moment to go into Discord settings.
The power is there.
Oh,
I
it
didn't know there
actually
was a
is.
power
He
to
is
do that.
muted here. Let me see if I can. I try to talk again, TJ.
All right. So is that any better?
Yeah. Wow. Hi. I didn't know you
Oh
were
no,
here.
it's worse. Now I can hear you.
Xaereth, you've hurt my feelings to a degree of nth that I don't even know how to say it, man. But I'm gonna re-ask the question now, just because I like you, even though apparently it's not mutual. All right. So,
It happens. It happens,
it's,
man.
buddy, I
Ask
don't care,
away.
man. I talk too much shit anyway, so it's natural. I'm all right with the selection. So my question to you was, honestly, you got asked a great question in one of your streams when they were started talking about GAC. And I don't know if you remember or not, but when we all first started with the new setup, it was highly engaging, right? We were all trying to be the top spot. We were all fighting. The sweat was alive. So to task loving, sweaty men, we were all there, right? We were all trying to be at the top spot. We were all trying to fight. Oh yeah, don't shake your head like you didn't know. That's how you found Xerath in the first place. So when we go back to the point, my question for you was, and to their question was, how has your attitude changed or evolved from when we first started and super excited to where we're at today? Does it feel like another chore to you for GAC or like something else, or does it actually, do you still have that same level of excitement than when we first started?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question because we've been doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've missed a GAC match. Like, I think there was one time I just like couldn't attack and it drove me absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm just a competitive guy. I want to, you know, I just want to go in swinging, regardless of how prepared I am, regardless of how, a lot of my focus on the game these days has been. I mean, I have 3 accounts and I'm doing all sorts of content. It's not just focused on GAC, but I mean, GAC is the I think if GAC just ended, CG's like, hey, by the way, people who like GAC, we're not doing that anymore. Like I think I would just say, all right, I'll find a new game. Like I need some kind of competitive outlet, and Territory Wars is really not the place I'm gonna look for that, frankly. So
Amen.
you know, I still
Boo
love.
to both of you, but I get it.
I have nothing against Territory Wars except it sucks. So
That's right.
no, no. You know what? I don't actually have an issue with. I would love. I just want something more engaging. Than
Yeah, it's
Territory
not
Wars.
terrible.
No,
it's
for
like
sure,
the
for sure.
cone when you go out for an ice cream cone. You don't go out for the cone. The cone's nice. The cone tastes good, but you didn't go out for the cone. You're going in it for the ice cream. So you go to the TW for the rewards. You know, you need the rewards.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to pretend like really quick. I'm not going to pretend TW in its current state isn't kind of messed up, and it definitely needs an improvement. I'm just saying it's like as far as PvP goes, that's all we got. If they got rid of GAC, TW is all we got.
If they got rid of
Sure,
GAC, I don't know what would happen to me. I don't think I'd be long for this game.
You'd think a whole lot less about sweaty men.
No, no, that's literally like all the non-Erodian people I fight are sweats.
So if there's ever a point that I don't answer, it's not because I can't hear TJ. It's because I'm putting in like little tags on all my videos for sweaty men, just so.
You'll see
fair.
Tass there. Wherever you put sweaty man, Tass will be there, and he'll be there, hands free, ready to roll.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get so many clicks just by adding that one tag.
It's just gonna be Tass over and over again.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be Tass
sweaty
clicking
men,
over and over
man
again.
sweat.
I'm gonna see that in your next Twitch announcement. One of your hashtags.
I'm a little concerned though about what you're doing to the term mount algorithm now as you do that. I'm just saying, Xaereth, be careful what you wish for.
Somebody's
right?
got to like Photoshop like Xaereth's head onto that one picture of Vladimir Putin where he's like, shirtless on a horse or something, or on a bear or something.
Yeah.
Somebody else Photoshopped that. Somebody's got to splice that one
I was
together.
gonna say, why Photoshop? That is fine. You just mounted something. It's fine.
Yeah, dude,
Fantastic.
it's not gonna mount itself. Okay.
That's right.
So,
he needs your help, Swiggo community.
yeah,
All right.
I do. So, I love GAC, man. I'm concerned that other people are, I feel like as CG continues to just add mountains of new things to do without any kind of relief, I just hear people say like, I'm gonna watch Xaereth play GAC so I don't have to play mine. I'm just gonna play the other game modes while I watch or something, and like they're just mailing it in because they're trying. I don't blame them, especially people who prefer other game modes. Like I prefer GAC. That's the one. That's the last one I would cut. Other people would be like, yeah, I like GAC. I'm fond of it, but I would cut that one first. And I'd rather play territory battles or some kind of crazy thing. So
I was about to say, I thought I think we can all agree that the real degenerates are the ones that prefer TB.
Well, I was gonna say Conquest.
Yeah,
if you're gonna say anything, dude, I think it's Conquest.
I know. Tess and TJ constantly mock me for like you kind of mentioned, Xaereth. Conquest is it's a solo event, but it's for the guild because Datacrons, TW, etc. Like TB is for the guild, and TW is for the guild. So for me personally, when time is short, GAC is the first thing that gets cut because it's the only personal thing. You can argue that the crystals are a reward thing, but you can look at my account and figure that I'm gonna spend, right? I'm not gonna pretend like I don't buy crystals. So skipping GAC is less relevant in that aspect. But I definitely understand where a lot of people are coming from with the taxing of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Well, I mean, look at the guild I'm in, guys. I mean, I clearly, I want to be able to push off TW if I have to. I'm like, I don't have time. Hey, I'm in the guild for that, So,
I respect it.
And I should probably help a little more with TW, to be clear. It's not like we're just completely disconnected from it. We'll win. We'll win more than 1 in 3. It very rarely will be like, oh my god.
Still get to call yourselves a gauntlet guild, though. To be fair, it's not like you don't got the people, but as you also say, you have a guild that is high enough in the game, but can still make a decision. Like, you know what, we don't want to do TW this time. whereas some of the sweatier folks are you're playing TW. So can't call it not, because you're in a spot where they're still having competitive players, and you've got some great ones in there who still know the game and still do well, but just don't give a shit about TW. And you're in a spot where you can be optional to do it, but still have. It's like having the redheaded stepchildren of Sligo, right? It's like there's no discounting it, but I don't like the game mode. Well, then we're not going to play it today, guys. And you guys do some funny ass defensive swings, as we've seen. There's always been a theme, and I know that's the HSP ways. There's always been a theme to a defense that's going to be set, because that's not what you guys care about. And I think that's awesome to have that option to go in that way.
It is. It's so funny, man. People message me, and these, a lot of your guys' guilds, honestly, and they'll be like, dude, I expected more. Like they like new to your guild or something, and they're like, I expected more from you, and I'm like,
no,
like, where is this coming from? They're like,
you fool!
In territory wars, and I'm like,
no.
Like which guild were you in that beat me? Like I don't even know. Like where is this coming from? Like,
ours is going through the story of what was the theme. I think that's what it was, right? Task Dagger. We'll be in the chat and we'll be talking about the themes of the teams that are in there. And what's this theme? It's like 5 red characters, or it'd be like, here's a story of like, and you have the Hans with the Leias, and it's like all of the different things, and it's like that's what we're trying to figure it out. It's not going in for like all the sweatiness. It's like what did they do with this setup? Why was this the team that was put together?
We need to get a randomizer just to mess with you guys. You guys will find something. I'll be like, we literally just plugged in all possible characters and just came up with 5 combined.
That would destroy us. I think that would destroy us. Especially
you guys can find the narrative,
I think a lot of people are very frequently like, I don't want to say surprised, but I think a lot of people, when they see content creators, I know that Arnold's gotten a bad rap for like, being slow to get to some of his guild stuff too. It's like, do you know how much time that takes? Like how much, it's not written down here, but how would you say you balance your time out of game versus in game? Would you say you spend more time on content creation than you actually do spend playing Swugga these days?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. I spend way more time. I just, and I'll tell you what, I have a ton of respect for all you guys here. Honestly, when I saw the panel, I was like, oh man, like these guys are all people who would just, if we faced each other, maybe we'd have a good match, but I'd go and swing in, but I don't think I'd lose. If we faced each other 10 times, I don't think I'd lose every time, but I doubt I'd win more than 5. Like I doubt I'd win even close to half of my matches. You guys are all legends of this game. You guys know GAC really well. You know the game really well, and I've maybe if I only had one account, maybe if I was only focusing GAC, which is really nice because you'd be able. I was able to like review every single match that I did, which is really valuable, but. That's kind of almost just passed me by a little bit, unfortunately. Like I wish that I had been able to kind of keep up. You guys really are very knowledgeable about this game, and I spend my extra time not reading kits and trying to figure out the next awesome combo, or like even just reading Discord and be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm just like. Okay, like how do I zoom in Adobe Premiere? Like how can I get this stupid thing to zoom in?
For all of your compliments, just know, at least for myself, and I know TJ and Tass and I have talked about this. We started watching your content to get better at this game, and we still watch your content.
100%.
So. So those are kind words coming from you. Just know we still watch your content too.
100%. As I told you when you couldn't hear me, Xaereth, my first thing when I talked to you was, "Hey X, how's your match going?" As I say to you every single Twitch, every single stream, and it's the same way because I come in to check out the stuff because you keep it entertaining, but you also keep it sweaty. And as everybody knows who listens to Tass's thing, what we're all about here is the sweat, playing the game and the competition. Against each other and or against non-Erodian players. Sorry, Saki.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's exactly, yeah. I'm 2/3 of my
fun fact, by the way, we are on the eve of the first round of this season of 3 versus 3, and I do have an Erodian for my first match. So neat.
Normal.
Exciting.
Normal.
Yeah, six of my 7 opponents
I want to
for this
say
gap bracket
this
are
is where I thought
roading.
this was super
Oh, wow.
cool, right? And I just want to put out
Yeah.
a comment where we're all at. It's funny enough, and I honestly thought, Xaereth, we might have actually been able to be in the same bracket. So when I first went in to look at the thing set up, I think we were like 6 spaces apart. I was like, oh shit, it's finally gonna happen. We're finally gonna get matched up. And then of course this time we go, no, we couldn't, because now what's funny enough is Dagger, myself, and you are exactly all 20 spaces apart. So we're all within range that something could happen. Tass and Sasha are, of course, they get to be at the top because they're the moms and dads who don't get to fight real people. But for us players who actually get sweaty and lose matches, or as we say, we try to win, however you want to put it, we were real close. So it's cool to see that we are actually all in range. That if something pops up, we'll say week 2, we could actually be in range of fighting one another.
I should make that my narrative. I don't want to win too much, so I can keep making content. Like if I have to,
It is the eternal cope.
I think that's what I told you in your thing, right? It's like, because if you really want a real match, you have to lose. It literally
I have had
almost gets a point.
6 matches in the last 6 weeks, Sarah. So yeah.
That's
6
abominable.
And
CG
you look at
fits the
Tass,
damn game.
and you look at Tass. Tass had a unicorn week because Tass actually went 3 real players in one match, and we had to comment on how great that must be
How
for him to actually have. It's just not going to happen, and for Sasha, he'll never experience that. It's just he's getting to be too far up, and it's just where it's at.
Well, and it's self-prepared. Like you can't even like throw matches. You're like, hey, I'm gonna try to lose this, and they're like, surprise, I have less GP than you.
Exactly. I have won a 0-0 tie before, so yeah. It is pretty ridiculous. But you'd mentioned it before, Xaereth, like one thing that just sort of dream scenario, if we could do like like choose your own match kind of thing. Like even if we're just occasionally, because it would be fantastic, and it's definitely way up on my dream list. But like, I look at, like, we talk about GAC and how important it is for all of us, as like that's why we stick in the game, or we odds are we wouldn't be here. But it's that really combined and fueled by the community. And, like, obviously, like us talking, anybody that's listening to this stuff right now, it's all, a part of it. But that's one thing I also just want to kind of echo Dagger as an appreciation is, like, you, not only the quality of your content, but you making it available and being kind of this hub for so much of the community. And I tend to, like, I watch a lot of your stuff while I'm like often driving or like, walking the dog or something. I can't actively participate, but just seeing you go back and forth with the community ends up being something that, like, as I run into people that I've gotten, as I either get to match up with you or other people on the stream, that makes the GAC so much more exciting and so much more interesting. And that's where, like, as I think about if there was that opportunity to just sort of do occasional grudge matches or something like that, to be able to just find people in that community and match up with would be spectacular. But anyway, I really appreciate, what you do, both in terms of the, quality and availability of your content, but as being kind of like that hub for the community is huge, man. It's a big part of I think what makes this thing go.
Hey, really kind words, Sasha. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's a tough thing, man. It's a really tough thing, because I feel like I in some ways have I want to be competitive. I always tell people, we didn't sign up for easy, like I don't want to do something easy. Like that, there's other people who can do something easy. I want to do something tough, something challenging, and that's awesome to. I love to hear that. That's my favorite part of this game, is just the competition and really just getting sweaty, like you guys say. It's a lot of fun. I do feel like a little bit. I'm like, I don't know. The game keeps increasing. The complexity of the game keeps increasing. And normally I'm like, like for any game, I'm like, I'm up to it. I'm smart enough to follow along with it if I really want to. But it's tough, man. And then trying to find a way to translate it to other people and like give other people a chance to, like, okay, guys, like CG just made a Datacron set that every character wants some kind of crazy messed up combination. Like, let's find a way to help people who hate Datacrons get the right Datacrons that they need to help their guild. Like, trying to do that is so time consuming too. Of like, how do you how do you manage it? It's so tough, man.
Yeah.
No
And complexity. I tend to like. I just don't know at what point like the game kind of almost has to keep getting more complex.
Yeah.
I don't know what as it keeps getting more complex. Like it's not that people and their capacity, like the community in general at large, is going to keep expanding their ability to keep up. Like some people, yes, but a lot of people are just playing the game for for a lot of other reasons other than the just like the minutia and the little stuff that we're all looking for.
Yeah.
I just wonder at what point, when is this game going to have too much of a divide on that?
Well,
Yeah, it's
for
interesting
years
because they do. Go ahead. Go ahead, David.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say really quick. For years, I joked about it. You don't have to be good at this game. You just have to be able to replicate a YouTube video. And then in TW, they put out a YouTube video, and I read the instructions, and I watch the video a second time. Then I watch it a third time, and then a fourth time, and then my fight goes
Oh.
nothing like that. Right? I'm like, wow, I can't even make that joke anymore. like, like you said, it's just so complex, so many moving factors, so many moving pieces. And yeah, it's only a matter of time till we're on to what's after GLs to kind of reset that complexity a bit, right? Like,
Jeez, I have
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps growing, and they do to have it kind of be sustainable over time. They'll need to continue to trim certain elements of the game that were relevant in previous points. I look at like Galactic War. I remember having been around since the first year they launched the game. Playing Galactic War was actually like a decent amount of the time I spent in the game, and then now it's just a pure sim. And that kind of trimming and stuff is necessary, and then being willing, I think, at some point after they've gotten enough of a return out of certain features that don't have adoption, to move off of them, looking at your direction, territory battles. But I think some of that's going to end up being key. One more question for you, though, Xaereth, that I've got, and to the extent you can talk about it. But as I was kind of reflecting on, like, again, I think you and content creators in general, and I think particularly for, myself being passionate about GAC, you and Tass and Fatal, really being so involved in creating high quality content, and that being a huge part of like I said, the hub of the communities and what is so sticky for this game. Do you have at this point, and I know it's been sensitive in the past, but do you have any communications or ongoing relationships with CG? Just asking because it feels like you guys are this like precious asset for the game, and I just wonder if there's any kind of even channel of communication on that front.
It's a good question. I didn't for a really long time. Out of the blue, at one point, I've been a critic of I call him Meat Face for a while. And honestly, I think he's doing a lot better, and I've kind of eased back on I've had my frustrations with him, and at some point. At some point, he like posted. I forget what it was. I think it was just like on the events server. He posted something about like something that I said about him, and I was like, oh, I had no idea he actually even watched my stuff. Like no indicator.
Heard you were talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was like,
I think we can all say that we missed Doja Fat, right? I think that's about where I'll land. We can all say that we missed Doja Fat.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, in response to this question, Meathead was able to get me straightened out with getting the PC beta because I kind of screwed up with the way I registered for it in the first place. And then he was, kind enough. I DM'd him, and he was kind enough to hook me up with, on 2 separate occasions, 3 CD keys to hand out. So super nice of him there, but that's the extent of my relationships with CG. I did ask him if he was open to coming on about some upcoming change, some future, thing being introduced, and he's, I asked how I could put my name in the hat for that, and he said consider it in the hat. And that sounds like I got your name down. Don't call us, we'll call you. So I'm just sitting by the phone over here.
Your points about Meathead and everything you said were relevant. So every time you've done it, because I've watched all of the times where it's come up, your critiques weren't anything that wasn't unjustified. But it's also he's bearing the weight of how CG has been the entire time, right? So he doesn't have an easy job, and he has to come back from somebody who was, as everybody said, Doja. Doja was chef kiss, right? When it came to what we had and then we lost it, and all of us were like, we just all look like sad boys who just lost their, Old Yeller. We had to go take out and shoot Old Yeller, and that's what we got left.
But let's be fair, though. I mean, it's a burdensome history on both sides of like.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Players of the game. You're totally right.
But I want to defend the point of where Xaereth brought it up about it was relevant, the critiques that were being given and some of the stuff that got brought up. So it's like it's not discounted, but I want to back Xaereth on your point that he may have heard you, but it was there for a reason. You guys have never, even when I watched the Monday streams, you guys have never come on and been disparaging. You guys will try to take a very, I would say, analytical point of view on the measures. And when people would be hating on it and throwing up pitchforks, hold on, just give them a minute to chill. But when you brought up the discounts of what was going on with Meathead when he first started, it was factual and it needed to be adjusted. And you're right, he's also gotten better. So I just want to defend where the point was, where it's like nothing you did was unwarranted. It needed to happen.
And his drawing of Stapp is a modern Picasso.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All they got to do is pay some like 15, 16-year-old to go through and add punctuation to their posts to make it make sense. That's really all they have to do.
And missing keywords that might make a kit relevant to everything else like that, and doesn't.
Just,
for sure.
Run it through spell check.
All
run it through grammar
small
check,
indie company stuff, guys.
Right. Yeah, and then hit the enter button after you do both of those. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for much.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know about you guys. So first off, we message each other now sometimes. I asked him if I could, so I think we're like he messaged me about something the other day, and I was like, I don't think I'd want to do that really, but like I would be willing to do that for you guys if you let me have an exclusive reveal of the road ahead. And he was like, that was a very good attempt.
It don't hurt. It don't hurt.
Got to shoot your shot, man.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely did not pan out in any way, but it amused me.
But he respected you for trying. He respected you for trying.
My dad always told me a closed mouth never gets fed, man. So good on you.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm honestly, I'm glad to hear there's some level of communication, and like I'm not a show for CG. I don't, but I'm also definitely not a CG hater. I really respect a ton of the stuff and a lot of the quality in this game. It's just that communication channel. It just feels like is a bit of a missed opportunity. But okay.
Yeah. So, just one last question here in the interview section for you, Xaereth. How much or how often do you scout these days? What's your kind of effort into it? What's the routine?
And honestly, I think that's probably one of the biggest places that my game has fallen off. Is I just don't scout. I just don't. I'll tell you what, it's so demoralizing to scout someone and to be like, all right, I got their number, I know what's going on, like, let's do this, and then you still just jump in, you get killed, and you're like, well, that was awful, and I just spent like an hour or two to prep, get ready, and I'm explaining to the to the stream, like, okay, he normally does this, like, we could do, and then something, it might even just be like something innocuous, and you just stub your toe going in, and you're like, well, now all my teams that I prepared and was planned, like, I knew exactly what he was going to do, but I don't have the right teams, because I just, like, stubbed my toe on the opening, like, somehow Seer Malicos didn't work this time, so I was really counting on that, and now I'm screwed, and I just can't do it. I can't spend hours no reward, and that's not a part that I get joy from anyways. And what I've discovered is my placing is really not fallen much at all. Like, I think I was probably not very good at scouting to begin with. I think unfortunately it's faced some hard truths, but like I think some people I'll face people, they'll be like, dude, that they'll be like all scouting and crazy, and like they'd be expecting me to scout, and they're like, your defenses were the same. Like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just didn't want to scout. Like, I did, I
Yeah.
just my ever level isn't there. I think a lot of people just assume I'm going to scout, and that kind of helps me in some ways. They're like, oh man, he's been placing this every time just to fake me out. I'm like, no, I just haven't had the time to change my defenses, but thank you. Thank you for assuming that.
Well, so I mean, you're definitely not the only highly ranked player that doesn't scout on a regular basis and still has
Me.
overall good results. I think that you said you don't really get any pleasure out of it, and I really do enjoy it because like I guess
Sure.
I see it from a different angle, but like when I have like a deep plan that I've come together on, and then I have something just completely hit the fan, and then I have to call a different shot, and everything has to shift, and then sometimes things go really bad. I have a very clear sense of how I got there. There's only so many ways this could have gone wrong or why it went wrong because I can explain how we got here and there was a rationale for it, right? Like I can live with that, but it's also something where I'm really satisfied with that effort, win, lose or draw, right? Because it's like, okay, all right, well, I know why I lost. I can take that, but it's like I did understand what you were about, and yeah, I mean, sometimes you get caught. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
I wish I had your
can
free time tasks, because I would definitely scout more if I had like the free time that you had.
It's a
But
talent.
but I'm with you though, Xaereth. It's like I find that if I don't scout, I hover somewhere between like 70 and 100, and if I do scout, I hover somewhere between like 50 and 75. So,
Huge
eh?
difference. The crystal payout is massive. No.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I I
They-
can respect that. I can respect wanting to scout and stuff, Tass. I
Sure,
absolutely can.
yeah.
oh yeah, for sure.
That's definitely a solid thing. I'm not as drawn to it, and if my results are a little, it's not like I am just like, oh, well, I used to be in the top 100. Now I'm in like the top like 800. Like I just dropped 800 spots or 700 spots. Like you know, I can mostly just pretend. And one thing I will say is I'll make adjustments from match to match. Like yeah, yes, I'll have my defenses go, you know, that they'll ride the full week sometimes, but I do just internally adjust. I'm like, okay, this isn't working. Like I need this character to be able to do this, and so whereas I'm not paying attention to what my opponents are doing, I'll still mess with some people, and they'll think that I made an adjustment for them. I'm like, no, that was just for me. I had no idea you even had gun guns going in.
I don't think
or
about
something
you
like
at
that.
all.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you throw things like pulling gas to beat Queen Amidala stuff, right? Because that would have been a fixture on defense for me for a long time that got pulled off during last fives for Queen Amidala duty. So I also like definitely understand like that is a necessary part. Like you can't just like set it and forget it. You still have to adjust to the meta to a degree to appropriately take out your opponent's threats.
Yeah, you gotta make tweaks, People get mad at me. They're like, "Dude, that isn't even on the defensive video that you put out, defensive teams video." I'm like,
No, see that's the part. That's the part I can see that they can get you with though. You put out an offensive defense video for every set, and then you're just like, nope, not gonna set that.
I think that's
week one is
completely
always-
fair, by the way. Like, you're under no obligation to follow the guide. You're giving them a guide. It's a guide. It's literally guidelines. It isn't do this or else.
I'm like, I just changed my mind, man. I
Yeah,
don't care.
that's your prerogative. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
if you want up to date comps, watch my Twitch as well.
it's true. It's true. Well, Xaereth, thank you so much for enduring our probing questions here. Thank you for sitting through all that.
Thanks for making me the center of attention for a little bit. I appreciate you guys.
You're welcome. You deserve the highlight. We always try to shine on our guests a bit here. All right, let's talk about week one preparations. Excluding Datacrons, we'll cover that next, and there's certainly plenty enough to talk about there. But what type of preparations were you making going into this week? Mods, relics, etc. By the way, this section of the conversation is pretty free flowing, so we can all just speak, freely as if we're sitting around a table. But yeah, what were you guys excited about? I made the jump to I'll show you here. I got my Master Qui-Gon into crit damage mods because I had a breakthrough. I've been hitting the crit damage farm for a little bit, and this gem popped up for me. I don't know if you guys can see that real clearly.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
But she's a beaut. She's a beaut. 27 speed, 2% offense on 2 rolls, and then a little bit of crit chance and flat protection. But she's a beaut, and it made it all come together in a way that it didn't really screw up something more important. But that was one thing I did. I got Night Trooper up. I know...
Dude, that's the one I want to talk about. I will tell you personally, I got my ass destroyed by this character in TW, and I am, because of GAC focus, and I know it's gonna be more, right? But seeing what he's doing, like with the proper setup and all that, dude, I am super excited for this guy. I think he's going to be wrecking people, and as I've been saying, and I will continue to say, support your content creator, because I think people are going to have a rude awakening with this character and where we're all at. I think this dude is that Kron. Oh my God, man. And the setup with DTMG, I don't know what you think, Xaereth. I'm excited to see what you do. So that way, if you fail, I can not do what you do. But at the same time, learn. But it's the same thing for Tash. But it's like, I think this guy's going to be a lot of fun, dude, in threes. I think he's going to be a shiner.
Where are you using him?
Sorry, say again?
I want to know.
DTMG.
I don't want to know what. Yeah, you want to use him. No, but I want to know, like, what's your comp and what are you using him on offense?
So if you've done the right
DTMG,
yeah.
I'm probably going to start with Scout and DTMG. But
Yep.
Xaereth, on this show, we say things like one of the common things that gets said is watch your local content creators. They fail, so you don't have to.
I do it like this. I love watching you guys, and that's why I always try to push for people to support you guys, because you do the hardest job. You come out in the front and have to put yourself out there with the stuff we're fighting. And you're not fighting, let's just say, when you don't get erodiums, right? So when you're actually fighting the real players, you're fighting the best of the best. And so what you're fighting is the cream of the crop modding, the best datacrons, and everything else. So when you're fighting these pieces, it's like, yeah, it's definitely going to be DTMG and Scout, and it'll all be DC related, I think, is going to be a lot of it. But this setup with this character and how hard he punches, I've seen non-GAC, but now we're gonna have an Omi on this. Dude, this man, I'm telling you, this guy right here is, we're not playing games.
Yeah.
He literally deleted my entire, this character deleted my entire team. We're not gonna say anything TW, but it was like, oh, if they're doing this in TW, oh, GAC, man, oh my God.
It's gonna slap the taste out your mouth.
It is a bottom front, fuck you, face me, bro, type of team. It's gonna be,
And it actually kind of goes into what I did for my prep, because most of my prep was getting my relics squared away for the raid. So as the proud new owner of an R8 ETH Koth, and now that it looks like shut your mouth. And now that it looks like Gideon's coming off DTMG, I'm looking forward to doing some. Yeah, man. Like, I'm looking forward to doing some Gidme with some of my new like R8s and man, taking Ayla to R8 and taking
that reminds me of a Thridian, the Xaereth original, the Thridian.
Yeah,
the Thridian is back on the market.
Been a while.
Yeah, it's back on the menu, boys.
That's right.
Dude, and that is I would have never have thought of that comment. It's like, oh yeah, Thridian is back, dude. Oh, Thridian and Gibbon and all these pieces. Like, man, we can get back to funky games.
Now, Xaereth and Tass, I need you guys to find out what I can do with my R8 Darth Maul.
Same thing you did with your R7 Darth Maul. Exactly, Jack and shit. or your Koth.
Build him like a tank to stick with. No, just literally stick him with Bane, or just have him just be a dud for sacrifice to see.
I mean, yeah. No, I just want him to be good so badly, because like it's the old like the last raid did the crate raid did this shit to me too, man. Like we're looking up some of these characters, and it's like, God, I wish I could just use you
Hey,
more. I wish you were
Tuscans
less.
Tuscans were and are the shit. So at least with Tuscans,
Pretty
they
good.
hold weight, and especially in threes, I don't care. Every time it comes across, Tuscans are monsters, and it don't matter the DC set. You have to count them, and you have to account for them.
I was
You're
more
that
afraid to
guy
like.
who. Oh, so you're like the guy who like you go to the back zone and they have like the Rolo and the Captain Han and like all the characters that they're bitter that they had to gear as requirements.
That's right. I'll be
And you're like,
goddamned if I don't see these on the board.
I'm gonna get some value out of this. Yeah.
One very bitter, like Luminara Ami sitting in the middle of them, and everything. All the mistakes that were made.
Speak not of it. I hate that Omicron I placed. I did it in
in
good faith.
Yes, and then it doesn't work because her protection up is like Stormtrooper Han's taunt, where it only works if it's her product. It doesn't work if it's somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm with you, Tass. I did it too because it's like, oh man, you read Beck's kit and you read Luminara's kit, and it's like, this works. And then you read Queen Amidala's kit, and you're like, this works. And it's like, no, it sure fucking doesn't.
I wanted to believe. But yeah, so anyway, I mean, just those couple characters, and then basically whatever level 9 Datacron characters I was able to get that I wanted to tweak in any way, I kind of just, like, I got Cup up, I put him in Cup in a speed set. So we'll see how it goes. I got a Boss Cron. I have still no idea what I'm doing with that, but yeah, I just kind of looked at some of the characters that I got level 9s for and just, checked and saw that they were up to snuff. But yeah, more about you guys. What'd you guys do?
Yeah, so my approach was far more level 6 and a little bit of level 3 Datacron dictated. So that's why I was hesitant to dive in because you were going to talk about the Datacron set after. But I really found every relic investment that I've made since set 16 was announced has been around kind of related to the splash that I think this set's going to make, and in particular, support characters. The long support level 6 is hugely impactful. It's dependent on a comp that's not only going to have a support that, it's good if support creates buffs there, but it's really nice if they create a ton of debuffs, but then you have to pair them with some attacker that's getting the stacked crit damage. So it left me looking through all my various support characters and thinking of comps. And that's one of the things I really enjoy in this game is when you get a chance to just sort of sit back and think, oh, we have this big basket full of toys. How can we, kind of put them together in interesting combos? So I think the support level 6 led me to do, like you mentioned, Cup. There were a number of other ones that I just put more thoughtful modding into, and went one step beyond going, all right, if we're doing 3v3 and I want this support in there, who's going to be a complementary attacker? How can we protect them? And then the other thing, like I mentioned on level 3, I'm a big believer in the impact, actually level 3 and level 6, of level 3 on this set of tanks reviving, dark side tanks reviving, combined with the long-winded level 6 for tanks is wonderful, and in some cases it's certainly the best. But in a number of cases, I actually think that the damage reduction one can be huge combined with revive, and particularly in a 3v3 where you can get dark side tanks that don't seem all that meaningful but are going to be able to stick around for a while or come back. So I put a bunch into either dark side tanks and support. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm. So all those got a tune up from you. All right.
Yeah. Every one of them got some amount of TLC. And I didn't do anything on this, but Tass, I actually thought about messaging you about it. That if I recall, did you do the Krennic Ami ages ago?
Yes.
Okay, and I don't say that to open up an old wound, but to say I wouldn't be surprised, dude, that if you could do Krennic, Death Trooper, and I don't know, Royal Guard or something with the level 6 support, he generates every time you have him critting, he is generating ability blocks, so there's some debuff. He does. Anyway, this is me digging pretty deep, but I do think there's even the viability for a Krennic squad. I have him at R5 in the army, but you can make it happen, my friend.
I'll tell you what, the kind of mods that you want to put on him to actually make him good are very
It's-
expensive for
it's-
me these days.
It's for anybody. That's not just you. I know that's you saying, but that's Krennic requires the right setup, and he can really surprise people with the setup on it. But it's like the dependency for everything to be just right, for the Death Trooper to be set up with the Krennic. It's just not. It's not nice enough, and I was the one
Yeah,
that
you're right.
had Heinze try to push it too, right? And I understood the reasoning. And at the time when the Empire was in here and what we were going to do with it, that was probably the best time it was going to be. But it's just gone by the wayside for what is there right now. But you're right on the Datacron, and I know we have the section to talk about it. The one I'd be interested in for is you, Xaereth. I know you do your 3v3 analysis, right? And you say, here are the teams we want to do. Be best offensive, best defensive. But I would be interested to hear what you're going to do for your setup for the week and what the start is for you.
Yeah, I mean, so and this is where the content creation piece just really gets in the way because so yeah, I got the new Night Trooper. That was pretty excited. I love the new like CG probably loves it too. They love that I love it. But the new way to whale on new characters and get
Yes.
like brand new characters,
So
you only have to
good.
get them.
Great
You only have to get them
strategy.
to 6
Yeah.
star. Like I'm like that prices me in on a lot of this stuff, especially
I
with
think-
exclusive crons and stuff.
I think Solo called it too when he talked about. I think it's the perfect setup where they really just grab the wider audience to spend more money because it is completely achievable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
I'm
when you
just
buy the
like,
$30 pack for 5 Omis and then just buy a vault, and then a week later your character is 7 stars, it just feels good.
well, dude, and then the extra Omicrons that you get on top of all
Yeah.
of that, it's like getting half of an Omicron as well. Like the extra value, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
I mean, that guy deserves a promotion or something. Like I'm like I hate him too because I'm spending more money. But
Don't we
Yeah,
all?
rewarding bad behavior on these new level 9s, right? Like the new Night Trooper and Kyle before him, right? Like just rewarding bad behavior, but I mean, like I'm not upset about it, or not super upset about it.
right, well, like the gamer side of me is like, yeah, this is awesome. The
Yeah.
responsible adult part of me that I'm like, I could have made a car payment, man.
But has your car payment seen that thing with Blight on Night Trooper? I don't think so, sir.
You're right. Yeah, last time I rode in my car, he was like, "Don't worry about it, man. We're
Yeah,
good."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I got him. I got him ready. All that stuff, and then I was gonna try to like really look through my mods and make sure that some of my squads were optimized and stuff, and then I realized I had all my raid mods on, because I had to make a video, and I'm still trying to work on that video. Actually, I have to do that tonight. But I had all these different mod loadouts, and like Kit Fisto doesn't deserve the kind of love that he gets during the raid. Like once he gets to GAC, he's like, "I used to be something." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet you felt awesome, man." But go sit on the bench now forever.
You get.
But like that's what I've just spent all my time trying to make a raid video instead, and then I just had to real quick right before GAC lock. I was like, "Oh crap! I have 40 minutes. I gotta hurry up." Just like jump onto Hot Utils and swap my mods out, and that's just the thing that gets in the way. Like I would love to. I used to do that all the time. I'd be like, "All right, let's go through." One of the things, and I know that this is like the most elementary basic thing, but it's really helped me. Is I don't know how many guys you get that listen to this that would actually be helpful, honestly. But right before you go into GAC lock, though, go into mod selection and then click empty mod slots, like the
Yeah.
sort by. Like you can sort all your characters
yeah.
by speed, by level, by
Yep.
health, all this stuff. But empty mod slots, like go through there, and every once in a while, I'm like, I have no memory
Throw
of
'em on
taking
screen
that
tap.
mod off. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely can do. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely live by
No,
this. Like I
it
do
is
this multiple
yes.
times a day. But
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. I do that, Sarah. Thank you for reminding me. Because yeah, like you were saying, like I had to do some remods for TW and the raid, and then my dumbass forgot to save my mods because I had remodded my my Night Trooper. So my dumbass forgot to save my loadout before doing TW and raid stuff. So my Night Trooper is in whatever boo boo ass mods he was in. Before his
Shameful.
remote.
Disgusting. I hate it.
But I did have this time on my alt once where I didn't swap out my my raid mods, and so my Leia had all these weird things on, and then she got all the holds that week, and I was like, "Am I doing things wrong?" Like, you know, you look at the history and you're like, "Oh, my opponents were just dumbasses." Like, whatever. Like, I don't think I'm doing it wrong, but it was just like this moment of like, this isn't really the result that I expected. I expected people to just waltz in and destroy me, you know? So
Bank error
like
in your
those
favor.
moments. Yeah, I mean, I've had those where I'm like, I like this character enough and his mechanics are important enough that I'm gonna just set him on defense without mods anyways. Then you get holds and you're like, oh, turns out mechanics are important too. But no, there's I think so. We're not talking about datacrons right now.
I mean, I guess we can, because if you guys,
No,
I guess
yeah.
we can talk about what datacrons you prepared, because we'll kind of roll a couple of the next questions together. It'll fit. But yeah, talk about what you prepared and kind of what you're thinking about, you know, for teams. I guess, you know, offensively, defensively, like one of each. I guess maybe something that you're looking forward to. I don't know. What are you guys feeling with that? I guess you can start, Xaereth, because you were just about to queue up about it.
oh, so my guess on my main, I have, let's see, I'll count. I have 10 level 9s right now. Maybe it's 11, and that's more than I usually will get for the first week. But I really prioritized it. My guess is that you guys have even more than that. And so one of the things that I really looked at was
No,
what
it's
teams
11.
can I use? What team? Well, not all of them have the good level 6, so I guess you know fewer than you know they're level 9s, but the level 6s aren't all there. One thing I looked at though is how many teams can I use that are viable in this meta that can use the old set. You know, like just legitimately saying some of these teams are going to be so crazy. Like you want to use Sabine prawn as soon as you can. You know, if you have it.
Still haven't
You know,
gotten that yet.
Nope.
right. Two of my accounts have it. And my
Well,
third is just like I don't
Then
know.
both of them can kiss my ass.
Actually, all three of them have it, but one of them has the bad one. And
Fantastic. I'm not mad. You're mad.
No, but you can fuck off, Tass. That's right. Haha, outsider. Plebe. It's all right. I can't get Gar Saxon to roll with the fucking nothing,
That too.
man.
That too. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
get that. I have two.
Dude, that
I
one has
have
been
two piggies though.
destroying me. I have tried so many times. Now I will say I've got a cool boss one, I think, and here, okay. This set is a nightmare, and I know it's. I've talked about it before, and they've done the one thing where they've really turned Datacrons and our understanding on its head again. And they've done a thing to where it's like it's so hard. I know it was in your video, Tass, and I know I saw yours, Xaereth, and what you talked about too. This video, it is so hard. It's like, what are you doing to optimize? Like, just trying to get right stuff, guys. Let's not get crazy. We're not even trying to the point of optimize stats. I just need some stuff that we can actually use. Like, I think what Sasha said is a perfect concept of these level 6s are some really, really amazing
that's the
setups,
real
right?
power. Yep.
And that's where it's like, it's crazy. It's like, even if you get a dark side setup that's wrong, that for a light side team, but that support is level 6 is really good, you're
That
still
is
going to do
probably
very
the single
well.
best ability in the game, is that long text support level
And
6.
what's crazy is the
right now.
rerolls aren't even lined in, right? Because if you look at it, like I've got like 2,000 of the reroll match for like the level 6, and it's like I'll get to the 80s on the 3 and the 9, but the level 6 is nowhere near there. So it's like, oh wow, I can actually play with this some. So it's like, yeah, they'll be the wrong level 3 or whatever it is, and it won't be the level 9 that I want it to be, because obviously they put multiples back in. But man, them level 6s and getting that together, it's like, where could I put this? Like, well, it's a Dark Side Crime. Well, that's going on my Galactic Republic team right now, because that's going to have the best support setup, and you're screwed. And it's like these crazy pieces of where it's going to look like it's like it's just all of it's wild on how you prep this correctly.
Man, I'll say sometimes I only log into the game like once a day, and I know it's irresponsible, and people get on me like on my streams. They're like, "Can you please spend your energy?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's just chronically at 144 out of 144." I just you know, I don't log in a lot, but I have been logging in as much as I often as I can, just so I can spend the shard shop currency on reroll mats for level
Yes.
6. Those Mark II, you know, reroll mats. There's just because they were priced in, right? Like it's if I had to
Yeah.
spend 80 every reroll, that would be rough.
Yeah.
As it is, my my stupid Night Trooper took 17 rerolls to get the right level 6.
Oh my god. That's
And I'm
horrible.
like, I was like, I would just do something. I would walk away from that from that crown, but it's literally one of a kind. I can't get
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah, you don't get another choice
Yeah.
in the matter. It is you have this one.
Yeah. I have a screenshot. I'll send you guys at some point if I'm
Please,
sure you
yeah.
believe me. But it was just like it hurt my brain. I was like, I can't. I just keep coming back. I feel like the guy at the poker table. You're like a, you know, like people are just cleaning you out, and you just like make that shame walk to the ATM to get more cash. 'Cause you're like, I can't quit. I can't quit, man. Like I think I'm the fish, but I'm not totally sure. So let's find out. Let's spend another couple $100 for that information.
Well, quitters really quit, so you're no quitter, and that's a good thing. You can say you're a winner.
I'm just looking at this. It's like I have the Wampa one where whenever she inflicts a debuff, she recovers whatever, right? The good
Mhm.
one. And then it's like Geo Soldier, bad one. Iden, okay, cool. Night Trooper, okay, cool. Wrong level 6, wrong level 3.
Mm-mm.
Vandor, bad one. Gar, bad one. Gar, bad one. Stormtrooper Round, bad one. 000, bad one. 000, bad one.
We don't want to talk about
You are
rerolls and
Elder.
what that got to. So yeah, I've got the right Saint Han, but I see, but that's my point. And it's like you see the one pop up that you want, but it's the wrong goddamn setup, right? So it's like the Saint Trooper, the Saint Han one. You have the one that's the good one and the one that's the bad one. I did that 3 times and I couldn't get that, and finally got it like right before TW locked. Of finally having the right Saint Han one, where it's like them doing these multiple setups again. Thankfully, they didn't do that with Healer at least. So if you get your Barris, you've got Barris. If you get your Visas, you've got Visas, which is good. But it's like, man, seeing him and then you think it's like, yeah, I'm good to go. And it's like, no, you're not. I did that 4 times on Gar Saxon, and I still can't get that damn thing to roll correctly.
They have to do something like the fact that there's like 10 options for every outcome, and you know, like we can't get those reroll mats without spending crystals, and I don't have the income to do that. I know
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah, they gotta lock the alignment to the level 3. They gotta lock the level 3. This is just untenable, unreasonable.
It's
Like-
a lot of combinations, and I understand there's there seems to be 2 dominant schools of thought about how to deal with this set. You guys, like Xaereth and Sasha, taking up a lot of crons to 6 because there's a lot of so much power baked into these, makes a lot of sense. And then I'm thinking of it like Dagger was, from the point of view of these suck to optimize. So I might as well take every single cron I get up to Relic 9 as best as I can, and then start looking at what I have and trying to work with it from there. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I do think there's those both do seem like viable approaches.
Yeah, I took 12 to
clear,
level 9, and I have 8 at level 6. So I have 24 level 6 or higher data crons. Or sorry, 20 level 6 or higher data crons going into this week.
That's quite a bit.
And
Yeah,
like I said, they have, like, if they ever do this again, please, for the love of God, alignment lock the level 3. Fuck.
And I'm sorry, Xaereth, you were going to say?
Killing me. Oh,
Yeah, my
you're good.
apologies.
Oh, you're good. It's just crazy. That's all. I mean, you can't. I guess what I was gonna say was, to be clear, I've actually been getting everyone to level 9, all of them to level 9, and then I'll see if it's worth the reroll to me, or if I'm just like, look, okay, it's something like I rolled the nest one. I'm like, you know what? This is actually, I rolled the good nest one. Let's just see where this goes. Let's get the attack level 6 and move on. And sometimes I'll do a couple rerolls on the level 9s. For the most part, I've decided. Look, I got Sabine's, which I think is probably the best level 9. I think.
Yeah.
It seems like she's
I have
the
not
best level
Seems
9.
like it's a lot of chatter about that one for sure.
Yeah.
It's the most flashy, certainly. Like, what time will tell. But it seems really good. And now I'm like, okay, I get what I get for level 9s, and now we just re-roll the hell out of level 6, and then if we fight, if we have our, it's just so weird, man. You're like, hey, I have this light side team that it's designed for. The character's the character it's for is level 9, and I have a dark side tank reroll or revive on the level 3, and I'm like, I don't have the mats for this. Like, I'm
What
gonna.
am I supposed to do with this shit?
It just breaks, and then you re-roll it, and it's just like two crap ones that are like, they're like, hey, yeah, there's light side, but they're both absolute ass.
Would you like stacking
25%
crit
to
chance?
dispel themselves, right? You do that thing and you go to reroll the level 3, and it's like you're rolling off dark side, and you get a dark side one, and then the light side one is 25% chance to dispel. You're like, yay!
And so you do the reroll thing, and the same things just like appear in opposite boxes. It's like the same. It's like the same things. Like, no. Okay, we'll make it look different. We'll make it look. Okay, how about this? And you're like, oh, I hate you so much. So, I'm like, I like the reroll tank thing. Like, maybe I'll just keep it just for some, just in case, instead of having to spend 80 reroll mats over and over and over again.
Yeah,
But,
or you might just take up more crons to 9 and see something better.
Oh yeah.
I would
Yeah,
think.
just take him to 9, I think. And then level 6 is probably the. And you want to reroll for defense? I haven't tried to get a single defense roll.
I mean,
I've given up on stats altogether. Whatever stats I get. I'm not. I can't afford to reroll stats
Yeah,
when I can't even get
that's
the
where
right
I'm
level
at.
3 6s and 9s that I want.
But we're also not going to face the Sashas or the Aesops or them, so I don't have to worry about what they're going to do. Because I don't have Sasha's position. I know.
Like,
I'll
let me
plug
tell you
Sasha
about the numbers.
I know. Yeah, because I know what Sasha's done. Sasha's absurd and a very nice guy to meet, but also
I know how many rerolls Sasha's done already.
Yeah, oh man, I don't even want to know to compare.
I ran the
I'm
bot.
almost
I know
scared.
where Sasha is in rerolls.
Where are you at, Sasha? Come clean.
On Datacrons, I don't know the number of rules, but I leaned heavily into this. I think it's part of where I've mentioned this a few times on the show. It is a big part of what keeps GAC interesting to me is they refresh the meta, the combinations, and it just like kind of stimulates creativity. So yeah, I went all in on it. I have a lot of fun with it. So one of the things that I tend to enjoy the most is like stuff that I don't.
One might even say he had a top. One might even say he had top 10 fun in it.
Oh yeah, I've no doubt. I mean, it's what I lean into. It's a part of the game
That's
I
right.
enjoy. But like Jedi Consular, my Jedi Consular was gear level 8, I think, and no, it was gear 11 or gear 12. It wasn't relicable. And then now I brought him up because I actually think that's a pretty interesting datacron. I don't know that it'll be great, but I'm like, yeah. So I leaned into that and I did it. I think the Gar Saxon one was fantastic, and defense is one I'm always really interested in. I'm actually also curious on how high Wampa can strive now, because I think the survivability can be huge with an attacker level 6 where he gets to attack multiple times, combined with there are a few options, but like one of them certainly would be the protection up, and then he gets that level 9. Yeah. So
I did that with the riposte. So giving it riposte, so it goes pushed under because he's always doing a special, right? And then doing the setup with the protection up, the survivability is going to be huge. So yes, the new Sid, old Wampa is the new Sid, which is the old Wampa again.
Yeah.
So where does Wampa get the kill?
Really quick, I actually didn't go for the prod up. I went for the speed up because the prod up one means you can't beat gassed.
Because it's too many.
That makes sense.
Stacks.
Too many buffs. So I actually went with the speed up on basic. So he'll just take more. They'll just take more turns.
I'm not gonna call it wrong. I just won't kill gas. I'll just go kill a GL. I don't.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's what I like your point of it. It's like that. The level 3s on the dark side for this set are really good, and that's where I'm like the light side ones just feel like such shit by comparison. Yeah, you can get basic on buffs. That's cool. No, let's get dark side turn meter, 50% turn meter, or speed up on basic. Or I'm looking at all these good things. You're building up LV again because protection is back again, and it's like dots are back. I'm like, this is really good. Where the fuck did they do the light side? Why do they leave them out, man? I feel like they just got put to the side. It's like, you're not cool enough.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: the two best light side ones are better than any of the dark side ones, but the light side ones have a bunch of bricks.
Okay. Fair.
I don't know, man.
Like
50% turn meter.
The debuff level 3 and the buffs on basic are maybe not the very best, but they're like the top 3-ish of all the right. Like those two are really, really, really good, and then the rest of them are pretty boo boo. And then like the 50% TM is good. The product is, and then the rest of them are all kind of corner case on the dark side. I'm just saying that the buffs on basic and the percent damage on level 3, they're both just really stupid.
Well,
like,
what about an
both
auto revive
absurdly
dark
good.
side taunt on level 3?
You'd be surprised how many dark side teams have tanks that can actually revive.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. It's pretty cool to have the setup like this, and you can just bring back a character, and you don't have to worry about the setup. And you've now got a tank that's going to come right back.
No,
so it's just
I'm not arguing that. Yeah, I'm simply saying that like the stacking crit chance, the gaining health back, and the dispelling are all really bad. But they're two level 3s that are really good are also just like really, really good. Like you basically want all of your light sides to be those anyways.
Yes. I would pretty much. I think it was like that. It's like pretty much as a consensus. If you're going to have that, you're doing buffs on basic, and then also the percent health damages, because there are some teams that are going to take real good benefit from that.
Mm-hmm. Very fair. Sorry, you were going to say something, Dare?
Oh yeah, I also like how I don't feel like I feel super punished for not getting what I want out of this set for this first conquest run, because the bulk set will just hard carry whatever you don't have.
That's why I also felt justified in going just straight for the 9s, because it's like
correct.
The odds of getting the exact thing I went for, because you guys know how I am about datacrons. Like I refresh my through the 100s. I'm not actually trying to throw a bunch of money at that. Like I'll spend money on a bunch of other things, but I've always kind of shied away from dumping a bunch of crystals into something that is gone in 4 months. So I really felt like as wide as I went on 15, I thought it was good to go a little harder, to go straight at the 9s this time.
Yeah.
But I do want to move us on to the next topic here. Now that the Sith and Resistance crons are gone, set 14 has expired, what are we expecting from Rey, Bane, and Zori teams? This is a great question. Good job, Dagger. It was a good
Zori might be off the board now, unless buffs on basic is good enough to carry it.
I think it's a really good that what if factor in that, and I'd be interested to hear what Xaereth thinks and Sasha and them, especially for the top, right? Because I think with Dagger, we've talked about this on the show so much that it was like an open cheat, right? That Fado was the guy who was doing Resistance before Resistance was cool on like Rey, right? He was pushing the team, and that was his baby, right? And it's like you've seen Brock and some others that would do gas on Rey. It's like you have these things. He was the Zori guy before Zori was doing all the stuff like that, and how far it could go. And then we had a cheat code, and the cheat code was, haha, you don't get to kill me, and it was the most biggest pain in the ass all the way to the end for what it would do on defense. But I think you're right? Because now it's like you don't have that cheat code. Even with Bane still will be a good one. I think it's going to be a forever setup, but it's like it was really good. And that was except for the one time I think for Task, it was like the SLKR killer, and it's like I need to kill this team. Well, we'll just Bane it, and it's like I don't know that it's always just going to be just auto Bane now as a response. As like, here, let me give yourself 20 speed and 50% offense or whatever it was.
Also, before we go too deep on that, because that's probably going to be the Resistance are probably going to be way more of the discussion here. So I just want to make a quick anecdote about. I showed Tass. I got this one really sweet cron that had the tank grit level 6.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to just Malgus bonk people like into oblivion with that shit. That's going to be so much fun.
It feels to me like your Treya, your Malgus are arguably, the same or even better than ever with the 6s. It's really, I think we're mostly thinking about like, and I know I was asking you about this earlier Dagger, what you thought about it, but very glad to get all of you guys' take about, do you think if there's going to be a need to combine C and Bane, particularly here in 3 versus 3? I don't necessarily see anything off the top of my head, but I was trying to put myself in Dagger through the thought exercise earlier. Because it's we intuitively know that Bane isn't. It's crazy. It's still crazy busted, but it isn't as crazy busted without the Kron gone. So, does that really change how we're using C and Bane?
My answer for you guys was, I think C still beats JMK without a ton of help, just because of the way that he has in the past. And I don't think Bane needs C to beat, pretty much anything that he was already kind of beating in 3s. Just because Bane +1 against 3 guys is not the same as Bane +1 versus 5 guys.
Right.
I
would have to agree. Mm-hmm. You don't have what you need, but you don't have to bypass, and you don't have Padme on JMK.
Mm-hmm.
Just flat out. If you're looking at it, I think
if you do, she doesn't go under prot under alt. So you're that way. If they do have Padme there, like I said, then only JMK is going under your prot during alt, which means you're not dying.
Yeah.
Okay.
C against JMK is one of the uses of that level 6 damage reduction tank Kron with a level 3 revive, to the extent you have one of those combinations.
I like that.
Just because
actually really
not a Sith tank. Not a Sith tank.
That's right. Not a Sith tank.
No, exactly, because they won't revive. So, but that is a great use for Gam Guard and Sunfac, or you just throw a couple of fairly junky tanks. Yeah, one of them gets leaped and it comes right back, and then you still have 2 tanks who are surprisingly thick. When they have that level of damage reduction.
So I'll ask it this way. I'll ask the people this way for the Datacron. So for everybody, right? Are there any exploits you're trying to do like we would do with the Resistance? Are there any comps that you're looking forward to trying to do something on, like the tank revive, right? So it's is that a cheap factor of I'll just use it this way, even though I already know, like Night Sisters against something now with the tank revive or something else like that, even though they revive anyway. Or is there some other trick that you're looking at using to try to exploit with the dark side tank revive and maybe taking an off meta counter? Is there anything that you guys have been thinking about trying to do?
I mean, now that Night Sisters are back on the table versus Zori, I don't really see a real reason to set it. And I'm not brave enough or smart enough to try it versus stuff week 1. So I'm going to let Fatal figure out what to do with this team.
Hey, don't you exclude Xaereth. Xaereth tries to figure stuff out too.
You get what I'm saying. I am not smart enough or brave enough to figure out what to do with this team. I had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with the Krons, don't get me wrong. But now that you have the Night Sisters back on Zori duty, I feel like that just shouldn't be on your board. Or if it is, it's your last team you're setting.
Yeah, well, we're using
the irony is Night Sisters. Night Sisters may have just upped their level and at this point may go after Jabba or something like that with the new Datacron set much more reliably. So it's possible that somebody burns their Night Sisters elsewhere, and Zori's not not worth their time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm curious. I would think, and Tass, you're a great guy to test this because I think you've got among, if not the sort of strongest Afra BT1 squads.
I appreciate that. I love those guys.
He's going to test the hell out of it against his Erodium account this round.
Yeah, get that support, because you think of the debuffs. So because you've got both Afra and 000 as supports, throwing out a decent amount of debuffs, and then BT1. Oh my God! Right, dude, he's going to one-shot GLs.
Because it's not just it's because there's support and she's gaining so much potency every time.
Totally.
And then she's giving that potency to her team. Yeah, it's
that sounds.
I was looking at that.
Also remember, her thing works off of her potency percentage, where when she has potency up, that actually counts.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that's what, 25 or 50%. I want to say 25%.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
As far as new teams though, TJ, for me, like just the one thing is like since I'm gonna make do with what I got, like I'm gonna do something with Stormtrooper Han, probably with Leia, maybe with something else, I don't know. But I have Nest, which means Nest Bros back on the menu, boys. Maybe I don't
Yeah,
know.
Wampa feels like overkill now with his Kron. Like, if you want to Wampa it, sure. You'd probably Wampa a bunch of shit.
I don't know. Yeah.
Net looks like looks like a sleeper, man. If you have a way to keep her alive long enough, like if you just put her with, I just think maybe just put her with Dash and Vander Chewie and just I mean
not?
she's just gonna ramp so hard. I mean,
Or
I
even
think
the old L3 Vandor nest, no lead. We used to do that too back in the day.
I said you got Hondo back at the table too, but it's like
No, Hondo's dog shit.
I don't know. Like, no, I was thinking about this though. Like, you could do like the IG-11 lead, then Hondo and Queel, and run that support. I don't know, man. That support level 6 with that would be kind of a banger.
Have so much potency.
I just think he's been power grabbed.
All right, fair enough. I have the temptation to try and see what he can do, though.
I think there's gonna be a lot of old school comps that come back in that are gonna surprise people.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, and it's in a back wall team with it's just got the right setup, and it's like, that's not the same way I get to handle this team anymore. Be it the Nest, be it some of these other players in the game. I think another key one I would ask, because I know you said you have it, Xaereth, is Sabine. For those with the Sabine, what is the plan for the Bean, as it is? What are you looking to do with her?
Can I just say how much I hate that nickname?
I
never say that on this. Never say this on this again, or I'll mute you like Xaereth had you muted.
That's fine. I don't mind being muted because now it's Super Bean just for you.
Beansy.
So cringe. It's almost as cringe as like. Anyways, I'm not gonna.
Well, because I think for two things, there's two ways it goes. If you've got the right setup, is it Mandos with BKM, or is it going the Phoenix way with Crex?
I mean, you're probably going to get your highest return of in 3 specifically. You're probably going to get your highest ROI with Phoenix because you're going to give her like the most. Her reactive turn meter or her reactive turn lets you start your train, right? And then if you ever lose your train, she gets a turn again, right? So I think you're going to have the highest ROI with her on Phoenix because she'll keep the train going for you. And I honestly just don't think. Sorry, what's up?
It's weird though because you can't have Chopper on the team if you're doing that, unless you want
Oh,
to.
that's true.
Rex. Like because you're not getting your abilities reset.
On top of that, it means you're not using Crex, who's like this huge debuff machine who's a support with a level 6.
I was thinking Hera, Crex, Sabine, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you're using Crex there, then you're not using Crex with a level 6 support one, and that guy throws out so many debuffs that he feels like it's almost up there. Maybe not the same as a bonus turn, but it's up there with like a Datacron exploits, like sort of top tier in this set. But yeah, it is tough. Phoenix, when you have to pare it down to 3 of the 5 members, there are a lot of tough trade-offs there.
I just don't think Bo is going to need Sabine on offense, and I don't think that Sabine makes Bo really hold on defense. So if we're looking for the best place to put Sabine, it's probably a Phoenix. But if you're looking, like you said, if you're looking at your best distribution of resources, then the answer could be like with Bam, right? Like, I don't know. Right? Like it all just depends on like how you end up structuring your teams. Like you said, if you want Crex somewhere for the debuff level 6, and you're going to use Bo on offense where you don't really need Sabine, well, then the world's your oyster.
I'd almost say if you're looking at an attacker-heavy team, is there anywhere she doesn't go? That's where
I was going to say. I've had a couple folks on Discord here talk about Rey. So we were talking about like future of Rey, Bane, Zori, like Rey, Swolo, Sabine. That does have an appeal. That sounds kind of nasty.
Or Leia, she's a rebel.
She just loses a shit ton of damage. Remember that, because her damage is tied to Lightside Mandalorians and or Phoenix being on her team, so she loses a crap ton of damage.
Yeah.
Oh, so which damage specifically? You're just talking about the exposed damage that she's doing?
That ability also just does less. It does
Well,
more damage.
It's
per
mostly the
Mandalorian
big grenade,
Yeah,
right? The
okay.
big AOE.
Yeah, and it does more exposes per per
it's,
Mandalorian ally.
Mhm.
So it's doing less damage overall and less exposes.
it's fair.
I've,
So-
I've been testing it in 5s, just in arena, and her damage ramps so hard with Rey. It's insane.
I was
It's just
thinking
crazy.
that might be the case. Like I could see that there's maybe some meat on them bones.
Yeah, I like the idea of like Ray with Bam and like IG or something like that in 5s. Like I would definitely build the team differently in 5s than in 3v3.
Well, nobody's talking about 5 right now.
Well, he talked about Arena.
Well, your mom. How about that?
I feel like we can all agree Dagger's mom. It's fine.
That's right.
I'll roll out the pine box for you guys to look at.
Thanks, sir. You know, Tass will still be sweaty, so it'll be fine.
Always. I'm actually, I'm
I'm
cooking here in the
spaghetti.
office.
Sweaty seeking other sweaters.
That's it.
No,
That's
no,
it.
no,
TLDR.
don't make
it's
now,
on.
now it
No,
sounds
it's
like
on.
a dating
it's
service.
on. Hashtag seeking sweaters. Hashtag
Sweaty seeking
sweaters.
sweaty. That's
That's
a
how we
terrible
do it.
dating service. I don't want to
It's
know
perfect.
what that is.
Goes on the new hat. Goes on the new hat all day.
No. Oh man, that's terrible. I want nothing to do with that.
All right, no. I'm getting that made as a shirt, and we're gonna hire up a merch channel for Cass.
That's right. Swipe left for sweaty. Swipe left for sweaty. It's getting on.
Jeez. That's bad.
You have done this to yourself.
I can already see it. I see the future. It's bad. It's a future I don't want, but I see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what are our thoughts on Morgan Elspeth?
Yeah,
Because we
exactly.
just
I
got
want to
her
move
kid.
to our last item here because I do have a few good patron questions and
Yeah.
a couple tailored for Xaereth as well. So I do want to make sure we get in for our runtime. But yeah, Morgan Elsbeth just got dropped the other day. Let me bring her kit up on screen.
I'll just say my first impression of her was that she's kind of doo-doo.
Yeah.
But also, we don't have the 3 sisters, so we don't know how good she's going to be. But her
You
kit
mean
doesn't look like...
The one huge sister.
Yeah. In triplicate.
Her kit just doesn't look like it lifts the garbage Night Sisters enough for them to be relevant. And her Omicron is on a special that has like a 3-4 turn cooldown, so it doesn't look like it's going to be. Anyway, regardless, just a cursory look of her in my first time reading through the kit. She seems kind of below average, but she's going to be required for something, and we still don't have the team's leader. So
I will be interested to see where it goes. I think it tells like the tale of everything else, right? Everything else we ever get, it's starting to tell the story of what it's going to do, and that spirit back in the day,
Acolyte, dude, they're gonna be slapping.
specifically spirit, right? Back in the day, it was one of the first relics for a couple of people, maybe Xaereth, and maybe a couple other content creators who talked about it. And they're one of their first characters they put up when relics were there, right? Was the spirit, and spirit was literally deleting people because it would come off, and they were just glass cannoning the shit out of her. And when she went dead.
Yeah, just remember, Morgan Elspeth that came in Matumbo's the old Night Sister team. She goes, no. Night Sisters don't revive.
That's right, no revival. But God, the damage that I understand what you're saying, like her kit personally, but what she's doing for those disused Night Sisters,
yeah.
Oh yeah, man,
I just don't see the tie together yet, right? That's what I'm saying. Like we have to see what the priestess can do because they're better, yes, yeah. But that's my first impression is that she looks like she's going to be a really good Robin to somebody's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that 100% tracks. This reactive taunt and the way she's doing it, and then the ability to bounce stuff around, causing more problems again. I think that's good. I agree where it's going out. The one thing I will say, not just towards her, but this setup, this feels like what's in place of the ship. Because normally we would be spreading out our resources to go for a Galactic Legend and a ship, but now it's a Galactic Legend and an Epic Confrontation character, right?
Yeah,
and we
Balin.
just had Night Trooper, and now we're getting materials for Balin. So it almost feels like they said, we're not getting a ship right now, so here's your Epic Confrontation character instead. So we can, because I feel depleted, dude. I feel absolutely the new raid, right? I know you can't see, but I'm like over here pointing out.
Have
So we have
some Gatorade. have yourself a sandwich, drink some Gatorade, and get ready for round 2 in 30 minutes. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, right? Because it's like you're getting your resources for your raid characters as your Eats Koth, and these other R8 characters that are just not going to go anywhere else. And now you have this other Relic 7 requirement, and now we've gotten Morgan and Elsbeth, who I can't wait to see the sisters when they come out, because I think when we get the full idea, I think it's going to be a great team.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Night Sister Spirit. She's always been awesome.
Good. I don't need more good teams.
DTMG or something like that is what I think it's going to do. I think it's going to be a cool team. It's not going to be a GL killer. They also did say,
it'll be a GL killer. It's going. They already said she's getting a Kron. It's going to be a GL.
That's what I was going to say. They already confirmed it in the wording that in the next set she does have a Kron coming, so it's guaranteed, which is cool. At least they're telling us now.
Yeah.
Which means we're getting the sisters here in the next couple of weeks too.
They're
marquee.
That should be interesting. All right, guys, let's dig into these Patreon questions.
Real quick, before we do that, I want to circle back to the Meathead.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Conversation too, where their ambiguous wording and inability to speak clearly really doesn't really give us a good timetable, because first they said they were getting a GL towards the end of the year, and then we're getting Balin, who's an epic confrontation. So history would then dictate that the GL would be in October, and Balin would be in December, right? That's what history would dictate. And now if we get back-to-back Balin requirements, man, if they drop Balin in October and then they put him on a 3-month cadence and bring out Ahsoka in December, do you know how fucked that's going to be for everybody? Because they did that with JKL and JML too, if you remember, where they brought him back for the second time right before JML.
No, don't remember that, but I'll take your word on it.
Yeah, because people were wondering if he was going to... People were going to... Yeah, so it makes me nervous, because we've talked about how free-to-play friendly, a lot of... sorry, that was the wrong way to phrase it. How light spender friendly these marquees are.
Yeah, this is Dolphin territory.
Case, I can see them really screwing the people who decide not to pull the trigger by having Balin come out in October, and then Ahsoka comes out in December, and then Balin comes back in January or February.
Well, my concern is they're spreading it this way, and are they going to start giving us every couple of weeks? Here's a new character that's going to push out from one direction to. That's where it's as Xaereth said, right? And people Solo said it, and all the light spenders are going to be like, I want to do this, and they're just going to start bombarding with characters, but they're not going to make it. Here's all for GL. Here's one for a GL. Here's one for Balin, and they're going to keep back and forthing you. And so I said we're not doing ships right now. It's here's your epic confrontation as the new one to drain your resources in. If you want them both, we'll make it accessible. But man, you're going to spend for it.
We actually have two. What do you call them? Spaces in the journey in the data mine, and one of them is a crewless ship.
Ooh, okay.
So we can watch out for that too.
All right.
So we know we're getting 6 marquees for Ahsoka plus Balin, and we're getting 2 ships. Yeah, like you said, TJ, there's a crap ton coming down the pipeline, and even though marquees are cheaper, man, we haven't heard much from Xaereth on this one. What do you think? I know you have historically liked Night Sisters.
Oh yeah, that's
I love Night Sisters. The fact that you can't revive makes me feel like she's not a nice sister. But
well, she didn't revive in the show. I'll tell you that.
Oh, spoiler!
Not yet.
Spoiler!
Not yet.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
There's always time.
Their sense of irony was appreciated, though. They're like, yeah, we just made her a tank because Thrawn just decided to throw her under the bus.
That's right. That's right. You're designed to soak up shots and then just die there.
Yeah.
It's very good.
She doesn't even get an honorary nod to be Imperial Remnant. He's like, no, you be a nice sister.
You served your role. Yeah.
But
I didn't even think of the tank role they gave her as basically just being a nod to you're just expendable.
That's right.
You defend. You hold the line while we run away.
But at least he said it calmly and very pronounced.
Yeah. All right. I want to dig into these questions, guys, because time grows short. So, First one, and we can move through these ones relatively quickly, but yeah, how do we all come up with our username? So for me, I'll just there's a longer story to it, but the shorter version is it comes from StarCraft. They're just two characters, little Tass, little me, just really loved and identified with Tassadar of the Templar and Praetor Phoenix. Tassadar, Phoenix, Tassinix. That's it for me. How about you guys?
Mine is an amalgamation of my name and a nickname that was given to me in high school because people could not pronounce my last name.
There you go.
So I have been known by Dagger for 20 years now by certain people.
You didn't just call yourself that after like a knife.
I figured it was in bed with my lady friend. And
I was
she was
like 14
I was
and
looking for
saw
the sword.
I saw like this knife and I thought
I
it was
was
really
looking for a
cool,
sword.
so I called myself Dagger.
For those of you who know my government name, Tass, you know why my last name was shortened. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I got mine, and I just ran with it.
Yeah, mine's just a combination actually of. Sorry, Xaereth. No, mine's a combo of my two daughters' names, Sasha and Aisha. So, yeah.
You've been letting me say Sasha Isha for how many years and just never decided to correct me on that.
Have you met
I was
Sasha?
seriously.
Have you met Sasha?
It is Sasha Aisha.
All right, good. I will commit that to mind. No, I'm the guy that like I've worked with people from all over the world with like really complicated and very very foreign like last names, and I'm the guy that makes the effort to learn that because it's your name, and I should call you what you want to call you. So,
But what I laugh at is
how many
I
years
don't
have I
never
been
met
Coming
saying?
from the guy who said this coming from the guy who said Johnny Batawa for like 6 months.
Look, man, it's just because I couldn't read. I didn't see it the way it needed to be seen, and that's all.
All right.
All right, fine. That's my bad. Sorry about that, Sasha.
No worries. Xaereth, I'm very curious.
Yes.
How did you come to prevail?
So in high school, I went by Darkstrider. I thought that was the coolest name, and then
So
I was playing
edgy,
Halo.
bro.
I was playing Halo with this guy. I was like a senior in high school, and the kid was like this really awful freshman kid, his name was Darkstrider, but with an A at the end, like Darkstrida. And he was such a douche, and I just remember thinking, I can't have a name that's like this. So
I can't be associated with this.
So I just made
Fantastic.
So I just made up Xaereth, and that's what I've gone by the rest ever since then.
That is so petty. I love it. I love it. Fantastic.
That guy.
Okay, TJ5270, whose name sounds like a randomly generated password for a first-time login. How did you come up with your name?
So mine is easy enough. Military guy. So 5270 comes off of the military and a position where I was at. So in the Navy. So that was the positioning for the 5270. And TJ, because I'm lazy, and if you're talking to me or something like that, my name is TJ, so you can't go wrong with just putting the TJ in the front of it. So lazy
No, he's
enough.
just lying to you. He was actually born May 2nd, 1970.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, sure, that could be what it is. But I'm super lazy, and I was like, if you want to talk to me, if I put in there TJ, I know exactly who you're talking to. So even if you don't put the full tag name in there, there's not many TJs in many places.
All right, fair.
Well, it's nothing to do with you're like 10 short of a mile or something.
Right. It's like one longer than a 69 is true. All of these are all good answers. I accept all of them.
Very good.
All right, let's take a look at this next one here. A lot of early mid-game guilds, early and mid-game guilds, are struggling with the Naboo raid. What relic levels, scores, and teams should the officers reasonably push for considering that many of these players did not farm Gungans and or don't have access to Queen Amidala until Proving Grounds? That's a pretty complicated question. I don't know. How would you guys approach that?
I have a pretty simple answer. If you don't have Gungans, you don't have Queen Amidala, don't bastardize your roster for this. Just do your best. Stay on target.
Yeah, it's
I
just a
wouldn't-
build up as you go. Go
'Cause
organically.
if you're waiting for proving grounds, she's not going to go to proving grounds till after the raid's over. So you don't.
It's just grow your roster organically, in my opinion. There's only so much you can try to do, and you have to do it in a guild full of 50 people. If you're a light spender or a non-spender doing it, you should be still pushing out. I like Xaereth's videos. I like Arnold's videos. I wouldn't change the method for what you're trying to do. I would, if you can, I would start subsequently adding in characters to get further in. But if you're growing organically in the game as well, that's going to put all facets. That's not just going to be the raid.
Yeah, I would honestly, a more comprehensive answer would be something along the lines of Gungans are going to be worth getting regardless, and they're not going to be what expedited. What's it called? They're not going to have double drops till after the
Accelerated,
raid's
yeah.
over.
Accelerated. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. If you're in the early game, you're just not farming new characters generally unless they're required for a GL. So a more comprehensive answer would be something along the lines of, if you want to chase after this raid, it's going to take you 3 to 4 months to get into this raid, at which point you'll have 3 to 4 months of getting value out of the raid. So it's up to you personally to decide whether or not that effort is worth the return when you're going to have to chase every raid like that from here on out.
Yeah, that is
easier.
the catch to that. Once you start down the dark path of crafting your roster to get the most value you can out of raid, forever will it dominate your destiny.
Yeah, whereas if this is something where you don't have Gungans and you're not going to get Queen Amidala before this next Conquest series is over, she's not going to be improving ground. So there's at earliest a month or two left in this raid. So I would just sit this raid out, do the best you can, and prep for the next GL you're working on.
That's fair. What do you guys have to say? Yeah, go ahead.
So I guess two things. First off, I mean, I think that there's really if your whole guild is like, oh crap, what do we do? There is the dark side piece of it. You can definitely, everyone can build a team that is eventually going to have requirement characters. Anyways, you can get a pretty good score using older characters that you don't have to farm. I guess maybe Stap, but he's in Cantina. You can actually farm him, and he's going to be good. And then I guess the other piece would be, I don't know where this person who's asking this is, what his situation, what their situation is. But I would say if this is a concern to you and your whole guild is, you're like, man, this happened again, guys. We sucked at the last raid. We're gonna suck even more at this one because no one's gonna farm. I have Gungans and no one else has Gungans. What the hell, guys? I would just say maybe it's time to start looking for a new guild, because I know that it's great to be loyal to a guild, and your whole guild has 49 other amazing, really cool people, and there are a lot of other guilds out there who have, at least 48 really awesome, amazing people that you just don't realize are fine. You can operate just fine, and then you'll be happy. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm with people who actually farm things that matter. I hear that. I'm like no one's farming Gungans. I'm like, why? Why don't that would just annoy. I couldn't be in a guild where no one was farming that.
Also, if you're having trouble squaring that particular circle, when you get a new job, do you stop being friends with people at your old job? Usually not. You can still keep those friends that you have there, and I don't stay on the server, be friends, even though you're chasing. You can have different end goals and not throw away. If that's something you're worried about, like Xaereth mentioned, the loyalty.
Yeah, we're
aspect.
extrapolating
if you're worried
from perhaps the original intent, but yeah, I think we've adequately answered this gentleman's question. Both of those questions were from Focus, so good questions, man. All right, I wanted to cover at least one here from Ivanek. He had a few. I want to cover the ones that he had specifically.
These are all pretty simple.
I wanted to throw these ones here for Xaereth first. So with the first Galactic Legend requiring Relic 9 now here, I know Xaereth had predicted Relic 10 coming. Do you still believe this to be the case? And if so, what do you think it will do stat-wise to be meta-defining in order to get the community to chase it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Relic 10 is going to do. Like, what does Relic 9 do? It doesn't do a whole lot more. It just gives people the opportunity to boost their roster even further.
Well, specifically, it boosts tanks, right? I think that's what he's referring to.
Survivability, big survivability. But to Xaereth's point, it isn't necessarily meta defining for things that aren't big old tanks or galactic legends.
Well,
and even then, those
I
tanks.
mean,
And even then, exactly, yeah.
But like I feel like Relic 9 is an interesting thing that people love to hate. They're like, man, I hate it, and it's mostly because they can't apply it themselves. But they like, I don't know. I face people with a lot of Relic 9s, and I'm like, gosh, they have more Relic 9s than I have Relic 7s still, even on my main account, and I'm just like, this is crazy. And then you can still clear them, and it's fine because mechanics matter. And gameplay matters, and datacrons, and there's all sorts of other factors. Like Relic 10, I think, is going to be something that everyone loves to hate on, that isn't going to be as crazy impactful as people are predicting. I do think it's going to come still. I think that we're reaching the point where I don't think that it's much of a coincidence that suddenly they're requiring Relic 9 at a ton of different places that after months and months of like just nothing at all. Like they have a Relic 9 tier for the new Assault Battle. They have a Relic 9 tier for the Raid. They have Relic 9 requirements for Galactic Legend, which is the first time they've done that for, that's not totally unprecedented, but I just think suddenly Relic 9 is part of the conversation everywhere we look, and I don't think that's going to stop. So I think 10 should be coming.
We think it just as a simple like coin toss way to think about it. You think it's this year or next year?
I mean, I will say that I think I keep thinking it's sooner than it's going to be. It's been years since we got a new relic level.
It's true.
Like it's crazy to me. Like if it's not going to be a relic level, it'll be. Has to be something like they
some
have
other
to,
type of progression system increase. Yeah,
they have to give us something to it, and it can't be this madness with datacrons. Like I love datacrons, but it can't be everyone can have a datacron, and it's a mass chaos every single time. That's not a form of progression. That's just madness, and it's gonna piss people off.
I do think CG is somewhat a slave to backlash. And if you look at the way that they announced this raid, they said they were going to add an additional box to go with the additional R9 tier. And that was met with such swift and loud backlash that they walked the entire thing back and gave us the same max box as the crate raid.
So you're saying the community, we want stuff, we want to see the game grow, and then we say we want progression, and then they're like, okay, here's how we're going to choose to implement a new tier of rewards and thus a new progression level. And we're like, no, not like that.
Yeah, so the swiftness in which they reacted to the loud, no F you. I have one, like, I saw one post of a guy, I have 2 R9s. How dare you require an R9 tier on this raid? And it's like, what Xaereth said, it's like, at some point they're going to have to move on from this. And also to extrapolate off what Xaereth said regarding the R9s, the first 5 R9s don't matter. But after you're down like 20 R9s, your R5s kind of stop beating teams of full R9s. And that's what I suspect R10's going to do when it comes out, which I don't expect until like next summer at the earliest, I think. The next raid would be my guess.
Next raid,
but
okay.
I will just say, like, I think the problem is going to be once you have teams of R10s, and then your R7s won't kill them.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have to R8 and R9 your team just to compete against those GL teams that are all R10 then.
That's a fair point. I've long since been, like, anything that I'm placing on defense, I try to have Relegate or better. Just because of the people I'm fighting. The real opponents are, like, I'm fighting the guys that have, like, almost all R9s and stuff. So it's like, I can't be setting R7s here and expect that that's actually going to hold water. So you're probably right. That's going to be a more common case for more people.
Yeah, I'm with Xaereth. We've been due for R10, like it's coming.
Yeah.
Like we just have to be okay with spending $200 to take something from R9 to R10.
All right, our very last question here then for Xaereth. What was, as one of the more popular content creators, what was the biggest obstacle you faced that you didn't expect or foresee, being an obstacle?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's all tough, man. It's all tough. I think the biggest thing is you just don't expect to have to invest so much into it. Like you just have to put so much into it. That's not just money. Like money is absolutely part of it. Like microphones and making sure you have the right like a good camera and I mean the list just goes on and on and on and on. It's crazy. But then also it's like okay, you have to think that there's so much to it. It looks probably I mean everything looks so simple, but it's like you have to have an intro. You have to have you have to have thumbnails. Thumbnails are like a huge time sink sometimes. Being able to figure that out and just the mountain of time and resources that it really takes. I think it just that just never prepared for it. It went from me recording my GACs on my phone and then doing a voiceover on like a phone app, like a free phone app, to I spend a lot of money just maintaining all of this stuff that I do monthly just to keep it going. So for me, I think I mean that was a pretty big one.
The financial commitment seems like it was the biggest thing. You maybe weren't expecting that. You expected the time. You expected effort. Maybe not as much out of pocket.
Sure. And then I guess also just learning to have a thick skin and just like deal with the assholes. You're like, why are you just like why would it's so beyond me why someone would go out of their way to be a dick for no reason. You're like, oh, like and just finding a way to be okay with that. It took me a surprisingly long time to just like, oh, we can laugh about that. That was funny, actually.
See, for those who are really in the know, the thing is like in real life, I am an incredibly like serious person, and part of the reason why when I started streaming, I started wearing a goofy hat is I see myself on OBS on my second monitor. I can't take myself that seriously that I'm gonna have like a meltdown when I'm sitting there looking like a horse's ass from the moment I came on screen, right? Like it's the hat is mostly about helping me be able to deal with. It's like nope, not gonna tilt, not gonna be sitting here, grown ass man wearing these stupid hats, gonna just be tilted, not gonna be me though.
Sure. Oh, I mean, it's good. I if people want to tilt you, or the situation wants to tilt, like it, just being able to control your part of it. You can't control what other people are going to be doing and throwing your way, but yeah, it's been quite the journey, man.
I will say, watching you both, I am envious of how you guys are able to control because I'm the phone thrower GIF or GIF or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I'm the dude who goes 0 to 100 when shit goes down or breaks down. So Xaereth, I've seen some of your stuff and I'm like, ooh, that would have absolutely just thrown me for a loop. And you're like, well, it's cool. That's not going to work anymore. Props to the opponent. It's like, that's not what I'd be saying. Task is the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I want to learn.
The internal, trust me, internally.
Oh no, I believe it. But
I am an angry
Oh yeah, no type
person.
A, right? Type A, because everybody knows me when it comes to high energy and stuff like that. So when I'm in something that I'm invested in, when I'm really pushing for it, when something, even if it's bad, right? If I can learn something, it's like I lost, it's cool. But it's like when some stupid shit happens, it's like your way to handle that is very good, and I don't think people understand that, or they do understand it, and I think it needs the props that it deserves because that takes a lot of effort. Because, like you said, Xaereth, you're huge into competition. So when you're passionate about something and it goes downhill for something stupid, I guarantee you everybody's throwing phones, but you handle it very well. Task, you do the same thing where that is a very eloquent way to handle things that I think people take for granted.
It's a solution. I had to deal with it because, trust me, it's not that I don't get actually angry. It's that if I actually do get angry, it's not really something I easily am gonna walk away from. So I just don't want to go there at all. All right, one last question because you guys, I see Dagger really liked a couple of these, so I wanted to get this one in. All right. How does the panel go about determining upgrade priority? For example, GAC greater than TW, greater than TB, greater than raid, greater than personal projects. If somebody was wanting maximum efficiency out of their investment in terms of like Zetas, Omicrons, Relics, how would the panel recommend prioritizing them?
Oh, for me, this is a really easy answer.
Hmm?
When it comes to prioritizing relics and your materials, raids. Raids first, best rewards in the game, not close. Now, I happen to be in a guild where my OMI priority is TW, then GAC. Although most of the player base seems to be GAC then TW, and then raid as needed. I don't do TB OMIs. But as
No.
far as as far as prioritizing my relics, it's actually raids first, then TB. And hear me out. I only say TB because my guild is doing 3 days of R9 content in raids. So there's some characters I have to backfill to R8 and R9 to have the full team able to go in TB because we have to do CMs to get those points. So, and as far as personal projects go, I am in Mochromium. I don't get personal projects.
Well,
I laugh because it's true. I laugh because it's true.
I don't know about all that. I mean, I'll say for my part that, like, you know, all the other modes I use to support GAC. GAC is why I play this game. That said, I have to prioritize, like Dagger was saying, I have to do raid, I have to do TB, I especially have to be on TW stuff for my guild. So I do what I must so I can do what I love, right? I guess I would put it raid over TW, over TB, over GAC, over personal projects, because the personal projects are largely part of GAC. But like, if I had to choose between focusing on a pet project or making sure I had like my datacrons in order for week 1 of 3 versus 3, then I'm not spending time on the personal project. That's my 2 cents.
TJ?
Yeah, the rest of you guys can chime in.
I like to hear everybody else's because mine's going to be a little more thrifty of how I approach it, because I'll call myself a whale, but I've always called myself the thrifty whale. So I like to know what Xaereth does for his, and then Sasha. If it's okay, I'll go last.
So, I mean, I never can trust myself on what I should be farming. So what I do is I get on YouTube and turn on a Xaereth Prevails video, because that guy talks about that kind of thing all the time. He knows his stuff so well. Very well thought out.
There it is. Very good.
Hashtag good plug.
Yeah.
Shameless.
You get a free plug at the end here, but yes, all right. I appreciate that second bite at the apple.
Add on to that, if you have any additional questions, he has a really good Discord server with lots of people that are willing to help.
It's true. It's true. Sasha, how about you? Did we lose Sasha? Sasha's still with us? I see you're on mute, Sasha. I hope this isn't one of those things where you think you were talking and then you weren't.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, sorry, I got pulled away for a second. Yeah,
no, you're cool. You're cool.
Yeah, my priority is it starts with where like the crucial guild obligations, like sort of what the guild really needs, and so it tends to be TW musts, key raid changes that need to be made, and then kind of everything after that goes to, like, if it's not a must, then it goes to GAC, and like just on the margins, it's like personal preferences, like. I love Rogue One, or really like Andor, and like anything that comes out related to those, it's like I'll lean in extra just for the fun of it, but that's very much on the margins.
All right, I'm going to call mine a hotter take, and I've always preached it this way, and it goes in part to what Xaereth said about being in the right guild. I'm in Mochromium because our way to look at the game is aligned, but at the end of the day, they don't pay my bills. They don't play my game. So yes, I will build and do things for ROI, right? So I agree with the raid. The raid is the biggest ROI that you have in the game. So I build towards that. But I make sure that I do the game I want to play, not that I have to play. If I have to play it, then it's not a game anymore. It's a job. I'll just quit the game. So everything I do personally is based on ROI because it's the game I want to play. And then I guess it's to Tass's point, but I align with the guild because I'm able to spend and do the extra things. But it's basically going to be raid and then GAC. GAC still equals out to TW, so they go hand in hand. But I align my resources to what I want to do versus where anywhere else is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if it doesn't work out, like if it was Mock Chromium, my setup wasn't going to align anymore, I just moved to a different guild. So what Xaereth said about TW, his game focuses, aligns with what he's doing in the game, so he gets to enjoy it. That's the ultimate place for me to be because it's still a game I want to play. So what Tass said, I think aligns too. But that's why I call myself a thrifty whale. So it's that's why I really like this question because I think for each person is different. I have responsibilities and it just happens that we align. But if it was making it to where I'm not enjoying the game, I'd adjust it because I enjoy playing GAC. TW became more fun when it went to Ma Chromium and when in Shadowlands. That's where I started. I used to hate TW and then got more into it playing with these guys now that I'm playing with. It became more fun. It was more like compatriots and things like that. But yeah, I don't do it any other way. I will never align myself to where I have to do something versus what I want to do because I want to play the game. That's why I wanted to go last.
Well,
And one final thought on it, just for the second part to echo what TJ and Xaereth said. The raid is the biggest ROI for rewards.
Mhm.
But the most important part about maximizing your personal efficiency is about finding a guild where they have the same alignment as you do towards goals.
Fair. All right, guys, we've come to the end of our journey. It's been a good chat. Xaereth, do you have a good time?
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Awesome.
Get to talk to people who, you guys all know more about the game than I do, so it's nice. I could take notes.
Well, that's gracious. That's gracious of you to say. But hey, I appreciate you sticking through here. It's been a good long show. Tell the people where they can find you. Let's hear the good word. Let's help you mount the algorithm.
Sure. So yeah, I'd post my YouTube videos on YouTube, as you might surmise from that. But
Xaereth Prevails channel.
Yeah, Xaereth, and that should be enough. You should be able to find it. Same thing on Twitch. Go to Twitch. That's where I play all my stuff live. I do all my GACs. I had a random raid stream the other day, which was totally different for me. Usually just stick to GAC, and then have a week off because you need that. But on Twitch, it's free. You can come hang out, man. It's a lot of fun. You can bet on the outcome. We always do like an over/under to increase a little. Like people just spend channel points or free points. Just fun, fun to gamble, and most people can express how much they hate me or like me by just voting for that. It's fun though. So Twitch, just same thing, Xaereth, and then it's _ prevails. But I think you should be able to find me just with the first if you want. So yeah, good times, man.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, it's amazing channel. Can't tell you how many tidbits I've picked up over the years that have saved my bacon and just taught me a lot of things. So I've picked up a lot over the years. So definitely for all the folks at home tuning in, you should check out Xaereth's content. All right, guys, it's about time to wrap things up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the outro. If you want to tune in to me on Twitch, I do stream there. I'll be on, Wednesday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday night usually during the Grand Arena week. You can find me at twitch.tv/Tassinix. I also, produce Swugger-related content there on YouTube at Tassinix Gaming. That is the home of the Plotting and Scheming podcast. This also gets rebroadcasted out on Spotify and Google Podcasts. I also have my Twitch stream, my VODs uploaded with chapters added for easy browsing there. And then I have my recent mod guide series where I've covered individual characters, factions, try and give you an in-depth understanding about how and why I mod them, and hopefully that follows you and you can keep using that as the meta changes. But that's all over there on the YouTube. And of course, if you like what we're doing over here at Tassinix Gaming and you want to support us, of course, check out my Patreon. Let's see if I remember to change the slide today. I didn't. All right, well, that meets expectations. No, I did. Oh, wow. I'm so proud of me. Yeah, check out patreon.com/Tassinix. For any upwardly mobile GAC player, there is something of interest to you. $5 gets you into the door to the TAS house where you get early access to plotting and scheming, my Datacron set videos, which I actually forgot to mention. I make those with Aesop Rock, one of the very top players in the game, just always at the top of the ranks. We did recently put out a video for set 16 here, which we are farming in Conquest right now. There is also a video on set 15 if you still wanted to shore up any of your crons there. That is an option. But yeah, thank you for all the members who joined here at VIP Access. Andrew, White Wolf, Sam Vimes, Jobin4527, Stark Strategy Gamer, Raze Malbus, Brock Thudsteel, Renee Bebe, Deadpool Cow 28, Johnny B. Ottawa, JJ's Productions Twitch, Sweens14, Darth QPPMG, and Arj. Stepping up from VIP Access to VIP Access Plus, that's $10 a month, and now you've got the access to me and Patreon for OmegaBot. So if you watch at the start of my streams, I always pull a report on my opponent. OmegaBot gives me a powerful, at-a-glance view of my opponent's offensive and defensive tendencies. Saves me a ton of time on my scouting. Strongly recommend it. Thank you so much to Stryker and Esh Sotnikam for taking that offer. And of course, at VIP Access Premium, that is the double bot bundle. So you get Patreon access to me, OmegaBot, and to Hot Utils, which is the premier tool for your mod inventory management, mass slicing, upgrading, selling mods, swapping loadouts between Grand Arena, Raid, TB with just a couple of clicks. Super powerful tool. Thank you to Quig, Ibenek, Sir Boss, Trevor Boy Gaming, Funky, and Focus, who also signed up. And then at the top of the heap, Ingesters Club Elite, the one and only Nomad's Reaper. This guy pops into streams from time to time and just goes ham with it. Hundreds of subs, he'll drop thousands of biddies. Incredibly generous support over the years. Really appreciate you, man. And of course, our special thanks. First to Yoda Force, one of my earliest supporters, bought me the mic I'm speaking to you on right now. He has long since quit the game, but we remember him fondly from the other side. To Mrs. T, my wife, who has in the background been keeping my daughter out of my hair while I'm trying to be halfway decent at a phone game. Super appreciate it. And of course, as always, to my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming, Dagger, TJ, and Sasha Isha. We're all family men with full-time jobs. It's sometimes herding cats to get us all to align on a schedule, but still, we get it done on a weekly basis. Been getting it done for more than a year. Couldn't do it without you guys. It would just be more of me monologuing by myself, and the show is so great with all of you in it. All right, let's bring it back over to the main scene. And yeah, we made it here to the end, guys. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll talk to you here next week for the week 1 review. And until next time, it's been real, it's been awesome, it's been real awesome. Take care.